Good evening, everyone. I call the meeting to order. This meeting of the Hopkinton Select Board is being held both in person and remotely using the video conference platform Zoom. All members participating in the meeting are present in the meeting room. The public has the option of attending in person here at Town Hall or via Zoom link that was posted in the meeting's agenda. This meeting is being recorded. First item on the agenda, of course, is Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll go to the public forum. Each person will have up to 2 minutes to speak at public forum, and please start by stating your name and address. And each speaker, as we have laid out the rules a few months back, will have 2 minutes, and public forum will conclude at the time noted on the agenda when the board will move to other agenda items. At the end of the meeting, if there is still time and there are people who would like to speak, public forum will may continue. And only one person may appear before the board at a time. Speakers whose issue or concern has already been expressed should consider allowing others who have a different issue to speak before them, particularly when there are multiple people waiting. Do we have anyone in the room who'd like to come and speak? Please come in.
I know, here I am again, Carol Essler, 16 Oakhurst Road. I'm speaking to the $55,000 at the end of the DPW budget. We have an answer, and a better answer than herbicides. The committee is looking at this with us. SGC is looking at it. And the herbicides, as the committees have admitted, is a short-term solution with no long-term benefits and possible long-term harm. What we have is a weed harvester that we have researched. We would love to see the money used for that. It is ecologically sustainable. It has been used on other lakes in the state. And I will yield if my husband can have 1 more minute, because he's going to talk to you about the weed harvester. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we go to the second on this topic, I would like to entertain someone from a different topic and then get back to it, if you don't mind. Thank you. I appreciate your understanding.
There is someone on the Zoom, too.
Thank you. Weather's bad. I'm not surprised.
Hi, Ed Harrow, 8 Spring Lane. I come before you as a citizen of Hopkinton. There are 2 things to talk about. One is snow plowing. I've handed out a picture. And I know a few weeks ago we had a snowstorm and there were beaucoup complaints about the plowing. That was the first snowstorm that we didn't have that we had to excavate the hydrant through feet of snow. Our hydrant is at the end of Spring Lane, and it would seem like if someone could have figured out how to plow the street 2 weeks ago without plowing in the hydrant, that we could do that going forward. That's my good news. Some in this room have known the Sismana story for 25 years, so I'm curious. I know the 2 that are in this room knew the accusations at least since January 2018 in an executive session, where the chair started the hearing with this conclusionary statement, and no action will be taken by the board at this meeting, nor at the next, nor the next, nor the next, until fast-forwarding 2023 when he was again arrested, and that still wasn't the end. For 5 or more years, this cancer was allowed to metastasize in our community after that executive session. How do you sleep at night?
Anyone else from the room? Please come in. Good evening.
John Laskowski, 50 Moyne Drive. I have this at 2 minutes, Chair. Some difficult things. If I go over a little bit, just give me some grace, okay? I know what sexual assault does to people, not from books, not from reports. I know firsthand. from watching someone I love carry the scars that never fully heal. Sexual assault doesn't end when the attack ends. It's not some schoolyard shuffle that everyone goes home at the end of the day and just forgets about it the next morning. It destroys the victim's dignity and creates a lifetime of shame. And the people who are supposed to protect them, the police, town leaders, they make it worse. They tell victims to stay quiet. They protect the attackers. They say there's nothing we could do. The system throws the victims aside like pieces of trash. And when we protested outside of Hilders in June and July, something interesting happened. Other victims came to us with their stories. Every single story had the same theme. People with authority knew, and they did nothing. That's when I understood this was not about one predator. This was about a system in Hopkinton that protected predators and failed our community for years, resulting in multiple victims being assaulted. So why are we so passionate about this? Why are we doing this? Because we stand with every victim. We stand with those whose dignity has been denied. When authority tries to silence them, we'll be their voices. We will not stop until every predator, every enabler, every person, organization look the other way is held accountable. And we will not stop unless systems reform so this never happens again to another child in this community. Unlike everyone involved in what appears to be a pattern of protection spanning decades, we will actually do something. The evidence is in plain sight. I don't know why everyone is afraid of seeking the truth. How is it so controversial to seek the truth and get the facts? You have no idea. You have no idea the trauma that people carry. You have no idea. My message to the community, have the courage to hold those responsible accountable. All of them. Have the courage to stand up for the victims. Have the courage to demand accountability and reforms to protect our children. It's time we are their heroes. To the victims watching and listening tonight, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. We will be your voice. We will not fail you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room? We can go back to the previous topic. Thank you for waiting.
And there's one hand raised on Zoom.
Let's finish with this gentleman.
Don Kaiser, 16 Oakhurst. I've been here before to speak about Lake Maspinock. Joe, in my dealings with Joe, who's head of the Lake Maspinock Weed Committee, sometimes we get a little contentious. I definitely against ever putting poisons anywhere, which we seem to do a lot in our culture. I found a weed harvester that could be in their toolbox, and I'd like to see them use that money this year and use this weed harvester. It's different than traditional weed harvesters. Weed harvesters in the past have they cut the weeds and pull the weeds out. This weed harvester has a drum that rolls and pulls the weeds out of the bottom, which makes the whole process much more effective. The company that distributes this machinery also owns 6. They've done lakes from Florida to Maine. They do lakes in this state. They charge $4,500 a day to come with a machine and a trailer to haul the material away. I suspect we probably have a place we could compost those plants somewhere here in town. I would think long-term to look at buying one of these machines and having the DPW own and operate it would be a much cheaper, longer-term solution, and we wouldn't be filling the lake with poisons, which is never a good solution. And one of my fears about using poisons is that it enables us to have algae blooms. It affects the quality of the water in the lake, promotes algae blooms, and we've seen cyanobacteria close up Hopkinton State Park. I would hate to see that happen to Lake Maspinock. I swim every day, and that scares me far more than plants, and I probably hit my 2 minutes. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone on the Zoom?
Yes, Bill Flannery.
Hello, Bill.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Bill Flannery. I'm at 12 Saddle Hill Road, and although I'm the chair of the Appropriation Committee, I'm speaking as a private citizen as our committee has not met to discuss this issue. My comments are in regards to the recent article talking about the expansion of the scope of the Hopkins School project. First of all, I certainly appreciate and applaud the Hopkins School Project Committee for coming under budget, just like the Marathon School did a few years ago. Great job. on being very careful with our taxpayers' money. However, there is a precedent of not using contingency monies to broaden scopes of projects simply because there's money left over without seeking additional town meeting approvals. A few years ago, when the construction of the Marathon School was wrapping up, it was clear that additional classrooms would be needed, even though there was a substantial amount of money left in the contingency funds. That new, broader scope went back for a town meeting vote for approval and some additional funds to complete the job. I believe this situation is similar and would suggest that a major expense of more than $1 million for paving the Loop Road, which, by the way, sounds like a very worthwhile project, should obtain multiple bids and go through the normal process of approvals to ultimately be sent to town meeting for a vote by the taxpayers. From what I understand, all of the money has been borrowed for the Hopkins renovation. If this suggestion is considered, it probably makes sense to check with our CFO on logistics of what happens to those funds while they are sitting in the contingency account. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on the Zoom or in the room? Seeing none, hearing none, we'll move on to the next agenda item. I think we're doing great with time. Thank you. Our next agenda item is the consent agenda. The Select Board will consider the following consent agenda. Meeting minutes. The Select Board will consider approving the minutes of the February 3, 2026 meeting. Accept gifts. The Select Board will consider accepting a donation of $20 in honor of RT Pine from Natasha Chisholm. Parade permit applications. The Select Board will consider approving the following parade permit applications. Sharon Timlin Memorial 5K Race to cure ALS. The Select Board will consider approving a parade permit application for the Sharon Timlin Memorial 5K Race to be held on June 13, 2026 at 8:30 a.m. The race would start at the Hopkins School Road and end at the Loop Road by Lot H. Road closures are requested for Hayden Row from Grove Street to Chestnut Street. Triathlon at the Hopkinton State Park. The Select Board will consider approving a parade permit application from Team Richmond on behalf of Max Performance for the triathlon at the Hopkinton State Park to be held on May 17 and September 13, 2026 at 8 a.m. The race would start and end at Hopkinton State Park. Is there anyone who would like to separate any of the consent agenda items for separate discussion? If none,
I'd move to approve the consent agenda.
Second. Thank you. We'll do a vote. Mr. Hart, we can do a voice vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? None. It's 4-0. Motion approved. The next item is 2026 annual license renewal. The Select Board will consider granting extensions and/or issuing annual common victualler licenses for Aramark at Dell at 176 South Street and 228 South Street. Elaine, do you want to give us the context and what we're doing?
Sure. So the last several meetings, the board has extended the license while Dell fixes the exit signs. We did receive an email from Dell EMC today saying that they did a capital expenditure for 700 exit signs between 178 and 228 South Street for $200,000. It's taken some time to go through the process, but we finally received 200 and they sent the wrong type. We're now on track to receive all 700 by March 9th and have them all installed by March 28th. We are upgrading all the exit signs to a battery backup, self-testing type that will alleviate the 90-minute testing issues we had in the past. So given that information, the board may want to extend the license until after the April 7th meeting, rather than the next two in between.
Thank you, Elaine. These are the last two that we are chasing, right? For discussion, any question, comment? Mr. Hare?
No, I'm fine. I understand the size of the company and the magnitude of moving something through for 200G, so I'm good. Thanks.
Matt?
Echoing Mr. Herr, I would like to actually, I've poked fun here at some of the other larger companies that we've struggled to get engagement with. This is very clearly good faith partnership, so thank you to them for working with us.
Thank you, Amy.
No, but I really appreciate them sending the letter and explaining.
Yep, it's a big deal.
They may also be on Zoom as well. Oh, in the room.
That's how you get your extension.
All right.
Should we make the motion then?
Yeah.
Okay, I move to grant an extension of the following common victual licenses to April 7th, 2026, so as to ensure completion of all the inspections. Aramark at Dell 176 South Street, Aramark at Dell 228 South Street.
Can I make a friendly amendment there to suggest that it's after the April 7th meeting, so let's say April 8th?
April 8th, sure.
Did you second it?
I made a quick amendment there. Amy had initially noted April 7th. That's the meeting. We want to extend to one day after April 8th, such that we can process it on the agenda. Any concern there, Amy? Okay. So friendly amendment, but I don't think I should be seconding now.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll do any other discussion? We'll do a voice vote. All those in favor? Say aye. Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Any nays? None. It passes 4-0. Thank you. We'll move on to the next agenda item. We're moving pretty fast. It's okay to move on, right?
Yes.
That's good. Next agenda item is fiscal year 27 town department budget presentations. The select board will review the proposed fiscal year 27 operating and capital budgets of the following departments: school department, fire department, police department, public safety communications, engineering facilities department, Department of Public Works. We'll start with our school department colleagues. Mr. Bishop and Susan, please come forward. Thank you.
Good evening. Nice to see you all. Thank you for having us. Ms. Rothermick and I are excited to be here and appreciate the opportunity to discuss the FY27 school operating budget. I know you have had a chance to all see this presentation a few months ago back in December. Some of you multiple times. We've given it 2 times already. What I'd like to mention here, and I think it's really important, between December and now, nothing has changed. All of our figures are the same, our requests, our numbers. And so with that in mind, we have our slides that we presented. Ms. Rothermick and I are happy to go through them as quickly as possible, knowing how many folks we have behind us. Or we could just answer any further questions that you might have since the last time that we've met.
Would it be helpful for a refresher, quick walkthrough, or unless you have any pointed question, we can start there too.
So you said no numbers have changed since the last time we saw it?
I want to show diligence to the town, but to the point, we've been to a joint session, we've been to school committee to talk about this, you've been here multiple times. I think if we have questions, which I do, we can ask them, but I don't think we have to go through it again if everyone's comfortable.
Yeah, I think we might have a couple of questions, but nothing specific to the overall budget.
Yeah, we'd be happy to answer your question. Yeah, we're just trying to be respectful of folks' times.
And all the slides are in the packet for any members of the public.
Yep, the 17 slides are in the packet, so yep.
Sounds good, thank you, and it's good that nothing changed. So we can start the Q&A.
Great.
Starting with Mr. Herr.
So not directly related to the operating budget, but certainly on the capital side. I think you know what I'm going to ask. I share the chair of the Appropriations Committee's concern that the Loop Road should come back to town meeting. I think it will pass with flying colors, but if we don't do it that way, I think there will be a lot of angst, and I think for good reason. So I guess more a statement than a question.
Thank you. Mr. Kisner?
I'm going to follow my leaders here and sort of echo a similar sentiment. I'll underscore it this way, maybe personalize it, having been the chair of the Capital Committee. It's important that it goes back through, because ultimately there are empowered individuals who is just as important a part of the process as the school committee. And this isn't about who is empowered, who has the authority, who is the right person. It's about ultimately we want the town to feel that we have operated in a state of transparency. And while I don't know how visible that's been on the other side for the schools, I would say my first term up here has largely been colored by discussions on transparency across a number of issues. So I would echo, I think this will pass with flying colors. You'll see me up there to vote for it as well. I think we have to respect the process process and respect the town here. I would advise sending it back through to more words, same sentiment.
Thank you, Amy.
Yeah, I think it's just the same. Don't we usually have to do a vote at town meeting when we transfer it from one thing to another? Or even though if it's a similar type, or?
So, and I'll speak a little for Kyla, and she can correct me when I'm wrong. So we will know the number, if you will, for the Hopkins project this coming fall. And so at the May of 27 town meeting, there would be a rescinding of debt that would then be transferred to another project.
So that would happen at a town meeting?
That would happen in May of 27.
The next time.
Okay.
If that is.
Right. So the public will get a chance to weigh in?
The rescind of the debt doesn't send that back to free cash at that point as,
Like I said, I may be using the wrong words. Kyla can certainly correct me, but it would be repurposing the debt, if you will, to a different project.
We already have taken the debt out, so you would repurpose it to another project instead of taking additional debt.
okay.
Thank you. I don't have any other questions either. I think we had very thorough and detailed discussion and got all the responses. Thank you to you all. And I just want to extend thanks to the school committee, to both of you, and Kyla on our town side, Elaine, for working closely and getting it done ahead of time and with a very good outcome. So very happy about that. And Susan, we'll miss you in the next budget session, it seems, but I'm sure we'll have a lot more opportunity to say goodbye or appreciate your work. But thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you for your support. Appreciate it.
Next one, fire department. And Kyla, do you want? Yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening. Hello.
Hello, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
All right, take it away. We see the budget on the slides. We can start with the operating budget, and I see you don't have any capital budget ask here.
I have 3 capital. Yep.
Let's go over that later. Maybe start with the OpEx.
Okay. Good evening. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to present the FY27 budget. This is a zero-based budget. All increases are solely driven by contractual obligations and inflation. I'd like to note that last year our firefighters responded to 2,665 emergency calls, representing a 4.4% increase over last year. Our largest budget increase is salaries this year, totaling $216,847,000, or 6.4%. This reflects all contractual raises, step increases. We do not include any increase in staffing or this year. Looking ahead, though, I would like to propose 2 new positions next FY. I proposed these positions previously, and I believe they are important for our department. However, I also understand that the current financial status of the town, we cannot move forward with them. One position would be a 3rd fire prevention position, and the second would be a EMS lieutenant. The other area that we increased is overtime. We increased that by $30,000. That is to cover the increase in salaries. That said, even with the $30,000 increase, if we experience any long-term injuries or paid parental leave, we will easily exceed the budgeted amount for overtime. In our operation expenses, we increased that by $18,000 over the previous fiscal year. $15,000 of that is for a promotional exam, which is a contractual obligation that occurs every 3 years. The remaining increases were for contractual services. All other line items were either level funded or decreased. So that's the budget in a nutshell.
Thank you. We'll start with some Q&A and comments from my colleagues. Amy, do you want to go first?
Sure. You mentioned the exam line item.
Yes.
So it says decreased, not needed.
So in negotiations last year, the union negotiated captain's language and lieutenant's language. So initially I proposed 2 exams this year, but because we didn't budget for any captains this year, we
Oh, so you don't need to do both exams?
Yes, so we're just going to do the lieutenants.
Okay, thank you. It's a small amount, I just wondered.
Yeah.
I don't think I have any other questions.
Mr. Kisner?
Thanks. First, kudos. I love that you started by saying it's a zero budget and then explaining to me that you had no control over the increases. You're getting savvy about this, Gary. I did want to just quickly ask, do we have a feel for what the overtime and parental looked like last year? I don't expect it to be budget breaking. I more want to be thinking, can we be planning on what that buffer is reasonably going to look like? It's safe to assume, given your line of work, someone may encounter an injury and somebody may have a child.
So parental leave is a brand new contractual language. It just started last year.
Okay.
Presently, I have 3 firefighters out on it. I know I have another firefighter whose wife is pregnant. But the year prior, we also had a firefighter that was out OD for over a year.
Okay.
So to get you statistics, I don't have enough data yet to give you a number. On average, we fill about 20 shifts a month.
Okay.
And that's what we budget for.
I'll steer clear of the weeds here and be a good boy and just generically say, I'd love for us to think about a way potentially for how we're building the buffer elsewhere, acknowledging that there is a real likelihood this isn't going to hit. I understand why Gary is budgeting for the optimum because that's what we ask him to do. Thank you for adhering to the mission statement, but I can also respect that it isn't going to be attainable for very real reasons. I expect to hear something similar from police in a minute.
The actual for 2025 was 447, so we're right in line with what the actual was for 25.
Bon, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hare?
I don't have any questions. Thank you. Thanks, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. I have a quick question or clarification. So how many staff do you have now? And with this, what will be the number? And how many would be new recruit needed?
We have 33 right now. We're fully staffed. I have a potential 3 retirements next year. Whether they actually retire or not, they've been saying it for the past few years, but I know they're going to the retirement board. So I may be coming to the board next year to replace them.
Got it. Thank you. I have no other question. Do you want to move to the capital asks?
Yeah.
Which is the first one on the capital?
C2.
Okay. So the, can we do like the 2 at the same time? Because they're basically the same thing.
You can.
Okay. So we have 2 vehicles to be scheduled to be replaced. It's the deputy chief's car and a fire prevention vehicle. Are they up there?
The Ford Explorer C2?
I have it written here where I can
Okay.
actually read it.
Okay.
So the C2 vehicle is a 2018 Ford Explorer. We're looking to replace it with a 2026 Tahoe with a dynamic fuel system. This vehicle will be given to the deputy chief, will be served as a command and emergency response vehicle utilized by him. It responds to all multi-company calls, including rescue incident, major emergencies, and it will serve as a backup command vehicle to the fire chief. The reason we're going with the bigger vehicle is because of the stuff that it carries. You'll see between this slide and the next slide is an example of all the equipment that is carried. This is just half of the equipment that is carried in the chief's car and the deputy chief's car. Some of the items that we carry is PPE, our SCBAs, EMS equipment, AEDs, ballistic gear, life jackets, and our command and control equipment. We're looking at the bigger vehicles is for the towing capacity. We've had some incidences with the smaller vehicles where we've actually had to go past the incident and get to the scene and get the lieutenant's truck to go back to the fire station to get like either the boat or the gator trailer. These vehicles give us the higher towing capacity plus the cargo space for the equipment. So that is the reason we are going with the bigger vehicle.
Thank you. Any questions? Starting, Mr. Hare.
How many miles on the current vehicle?
They're both over 5 years old. The one is 10 years old. The car 2 is 8 years old. And Mr. Scott has the mileage.
Just over 60,000. And is the money that you're budgeting here, does that take into account turning that in, selling it, what have you? To offset the
Policy
cost?
goes back to Elaine, and she can decide what happens with the vehicles.
We offer it to other departments first, and then if not, it could be traded in or it could be disposed of.
Do we ever have vehicles sitting around for years that we did not dispose of?
We did accumulate vehicles for a while, and we've decided we should not be doing that. So
We took
Don't
care
want
of them
to
for
do
you,
that.
sir.
They're not parked near a well or anything like that?
Not anymore.
We cut them up and sold them for scrap.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Kizner?
I think you make a compelling point about the increase in service. I really appreciate that you highlighted it that way. It's a compelling visual, too. I wouldn't have thought, I think Chief, and I think he's the guy coming up to make sure everybody's doing their job, but I don't think about the command and control and the other high-profile and high-priced gear you may be transporting. So I can understand where you are, but I'll at least demur a little bit and offer the same kind of caution. 60,000 miles on a truck, that guy should have another 100 to 150 if we're taking care of her. I just hope we're going to put that back into the pool. I see you sitting next to Director Reed, and I think, I bet she could do something with that truck.
So the vehicle we're talking about is 10 years old, too, so they don't get used a lot. We do a lot of preventative maintenance.
I mean, if it runs, boss, but I'm okay with the request. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dubus?
Yeah, it does seem like a pretty old vehicle, so I understand. I was curious about the dynamic fuel management system. Is that an energy efficiency system?
Yeah, I could send you the data. I have it right here for you.
Okay. It's just improved the efficiency,
Yeah.
which is great, but not a hybrid vehicle, but just improved efficiency. Okay. Yeah, because the big heavy trucks use a lot of gas, so if they can be managed better, that's good.
Yeah, we're getting around 20,000 or 20 miles to the gallon right now on the one we have.
It's pretty good.
Okay. No more questions.
The other thing, sometimes we look at some of our vehicles, we have to look at the idle time too versus the mileage too.
Understood.
These vehicles will idle for 24 hours at some incidents, if not longer.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have any particular question for this, but in general, I was wondering, when we do the capital project planning, are these predictable for the upcoming years, what we can get? I assume we can. And second is to Kyla, are those included in our capital budget projection?
Yes, they are,
Okay, perfect.
And they're all free cash?
for this year.
Sorry?
Okay, thank you. If no other question, we can move to the next one.
So the C4 is the same thing, but it's the fire prevention one. So it's the same spiel. It's just another vehicle that we're replacing. The difference is we're going to take my car and give it to fire prevention. My car's got 20,000 miles. I'm going to hand it down. That way we can set up both of these new vehicles the same. So we have identical command vehicles. Presently, like the vehicle we have now doesn't have radios in the back, so if we are going to a major incident, we have to use portable radios. So both of these vehicles are going to be set up identical. So if we had a major incident or if we had an incident where we had to have two areas of operation, both vehicles will be identical, and then we'd be able to maintain our command and control. So the specs are the same. I'm not sure how many miles are on car 4. 30,000. So hand it back out to the pool.
30, is it?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. We'll start with Mr. Dubus for any questions, comments?
Sorry, did you say how many miles are the one? So it's a hand-down situation. Okay. So yours doesn't have that many miles, but it'll be handed down to someone else, and then this will be newer. Okay, so we're not getting rid of it. I assume it has the same fuel management advantages
Yes, they're
as
identical.
the previous
It'll
one?
be completely identical, 100%.
Okay. Yeah, and I can see that you have a lot of equipment you have to carry around, and that they would have to sit on scenes for a long period of time, so. No other
But I thought I sold them both at the same time.
Yeah.
Mr. Gisner?
All set.
Mr. Hart?
So the hand-me-down will create another hand-me-down, and eventually something will land on Elaine's desk and we'll dispose of it then, right?
Yes.
Okay. And it's just going to be just a one car, one new one comes in, one gets handed down, the one that's there now gets handed down and out.
So
It's one car with one additional vehicle.
we'll be getting rid of 2 vehicles.
Right, the first one we covered, now this is the second one.
Yeah.
So, okay, but on this one, it's a 1-to-1 ratio all the way down the line. Okay, I'm good, thank you.
Thank you. I think I'm just going to clarify. So the other one was 60,000, 10 years, and this one is
60,000, 8 years. This one's 30,000 at 10 years.
30,000 and 10 years. I see. And this will be reused with the pull down, as we were explaining, right? And the main rationale for this, just clarifying, is that prefer an identical kind of twin, so the communication and all the systems are up to date and can back each other.
And then what we're doing is by getting rid of the smaller car, even though it has a small amount of mileage on it, my vehicle is actually able to tow the boat. So if the lieutenant's pickup truck is out of service or something, that vehicle slides into that position, and we don't lose that capacity, or we have to tow it with our brush truck. So.
Sure. I think given the first responder responsibility, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you. I don't have any other question. Do you want to go to the last one?
Sure. Last one? Yeah, last one is we're seeking to replace our 3 LifePak cardiac monitors with LifePak 35s. Our current monitors are over 10 years old. They exceed the 8-year life expectancy thanks to our preventative maintenance program. However, we've been notified by Stryker that certain parts will be discontinued, limiting repair and future support, so that's why we're asking for these. Last year, these monitors were used on every ALS call. We use them to identify cardiac rhythms, recognize STEMIs. We use them for defibrillation, pacing, cardioversion, and vital signs. These monitors directly saved multiple people's lives in town last year. We're requesting $215,681 from the ambulance receipt reserves to fund these upgrades.
Thank you. Mr. Har, you want to start?
No, I think this is an excellent investment, and I hope to see it.
Mr. Kisner?
Nope, I'm all set, thank you.
Amy?
Oh, no, it seems really needed and really important. I'm glad you got 10 years out of the last ones. I guess people probably are surprised how expensive they are, but they're certainly important. And it all comes from the ambulance fund? Like the donations people give, plus if people use the ambulances, the insurance pays?
We also do ambulance billing, and I know we get a portion of it. Last year, we brought in $720,000.
Okay.
I'm not sure how the earmarks work.
Yeah, but it is fully funded ambulance fund.
Oh, I had no idea we had that much money in that fund, so that's great.
Yeah, insurance doesn't cover ambulances by design, unfortunately.
Thank you. I would echo my colleagues' sentiment. This is very much needed, and we want to be equipped to provide the right tools. One question I have is, this is going to replace 1. So altogether, how many we would have?
Oh, this is going to replace 3. This is going to replace 3 cardiac monitors.
3. So altogether, we would have 3 new in the inventory. Okay.
We have both ambulances, and then our ladder truck is an ALS ladder truck.
Okay.
We all of our first-line trucks will have brand-new cardiac monitors.
That's reassuring. Thank you. I think I'm all set. Anything else?
I do have.
All right. Thank you, Gary.
Sorry,
Thank you, Chief.
through the chair, I have one quick question, if I may. I just want to make a quick note. We're talking about two new vehicles essentially on the same schedule. Generally speaking, we would see these on a staggered life cycle. You made a really compelling case from a services perspective, but I would just ask in the future that you consider on these. We ultimately want them offset so that they're not hitting on the same budget cycle. I get why it was this time, but I wanted to at least give the feedback.
We kind of pushed back the one a few years because it was in good shape, and we didn't feel the town asked for money, so that's why.
You're getting your truck.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief. Thank you. Our next one is Police Department.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hey, guys.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for the time through the Vice Chair to meet and discuss the police budget. Much like the Fire Chief explained, as will the Director of Communications, the budget really, most of it is people. So you start with the salary employees. We don't budget for any increases that may come in July. So the budget begins with the current salaries for salaried employees. Then you take a look at the collective bargaining agreement and all the different positions within the department and assign the increases through the collective bargaining agreement, which is a 1.5% increase. That translates across predictable time off. You can't budget, as stated before, for life events. We can't budget for those things, but there is a fund that Elaine manages that should we have catastrophic events that destroyed the budget, we could go to. I forget what it's called, but it would be an email to Elaine. So our operational expenses for equipment and office supplies and such are level funded. And I believe will still allow for level services with no loss in what we can do. I do have an ask. I'm asking for an additional position. We have, within the department, our administrative manager has struggled for years. Thanks to Elaine and Jessica and Kyla, we've been able to fill the gap, but the workload is far too immense. We're using interns, staff from Kyla, bringing in consultants to get the job done. So what I am asking for is a records manager, a second civilian professional to come in and assist my admin manager. And their duties, we worked out a job description this week with Human Resources, and the duties would be assist with public records. So there'd be a tiered system for public records based on the risk. My admin manager would maintain the position as records access officer, and this person would assist. So, you know, we have crash reports are very simple, easy to do. We actually have another outside person doing those now. Up to court discovery and detailed billing. With the Main Street Quarter project, we're billing over $1 million in details. It's a lot of work, as well as collecting the money is a lot of work. So this person would assist with that. Corey, sex offender registry requests could be handled with this person with oversight. And then assisting with license to carry, solicitors, ice cream trucks, vendors, and common victualler work under the direction and direct supervision of the administrative manager. It'll be an investment that I can absorb for training, a lot of training for that position. And, but we have it budgeted
For
$60,000. So that's the only addition that's not contractually dictated within the personnel items.
Thank you, Chief. I would start with my colleague, Matt Kisner.
Thank you. I'll be unexpected here because I have challenged on headcount recently. I love this request. I hope that the town hears this as being a little bit responsive to some of what the community has been asking for. Freedom of information requests are not easy. Redactions, digging things up, we're still digitizing our systems. I really see this as a good faith response from the department looking to meet where the community need has evolved to, what those services are. I think it's incredibly complicated to run a law enforcement organization in the year of our Lord 2026. Can you imagine you would have been talking about records information management professionals, right? So I appreciate this ask. I'm always leery of expanded headcount. This feels really purposeful. It feels very grounded in what the community is looking for from you, and I appreciate you coming and advocating for it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Amy?
Yep, yeah, I'm also supportive of it if, as long as we have the money for it. I know there's a lot of different types of records requests we get now with video from the cars and maybe someday the body cams, which takes more skill and more software, so I can understand the need for extra hands for this. As long as there's money in the budget, I think that's fine.
And building on that, we even manage the town-wide video network.
Okay.
So unless it's at the schools, if someone has a crash at an intersection, they're requesting that video.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Mr. Harris?
Has the 60K been in the various iterations of the budget we've looked at prior?
Yes.
Okay. I agree with what Matt and Amy are saying. I think this is a good hire. I think with the growing community, you know, the number of people, the number of the activity and all the requests and so forth, it makes sense, and I think it's a time. So I would support it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. I would echo the same as our colleagues. I think this is very much needed, and given some of the concerns that we heard, and with the growth and everything, with the demand, as you explained, this makes a lot of sense, and I'm glad it's something we could accommodate in our budget. So I appreciate that. I have no other question at this time, but I always ask this just to level set and so everyone understands. Including this, how many positions we will be having, or how many staff we will be having, and where we are in terms of staffing?
Sure. So we're at 20, we've budgeted 29 sworn members, and we have an administrative manager, as well as interns and paid consultants and other staff coming in to help. We're sitting at 26 sworn officers. We had a posting for a position, and the deputy could speak to it, he managed it. But my understanding is we had 17 applicants, interviewed 5, and a small number of those are going to make it to my desk. So we're working, but and I'll share this, my people have come to me and said, Chief, please don't settle. Do not settle just to fill the spots. And I promised him I wouldn't.
Makes sense. Thank you. Thank you for that information. I think we can move to the capital budgets if there's no other question.
As has been the tradition since 2014, the deputy manages capital.
Please, yeah.
Good evening. Thank you for having us. So the first item, I believe, is a request for an upgrade to our tasers, a Taser 10. In 2017, I came before the board and requested that we get tasers and the reasonings behind the need for additional equipment. When we did that, it was on a 5-year contract, which has now since expired, and we've been continuing to use those tasers. We've now gotten to a point where they're basically end of life. We've been told by Axon that the cartridges that we are currently using will be non-existent in the next year or so. So we did some research, spoke to other departments. This Taser 10 is the newest and most advanced taser on the market currently. The reason for the $155,000 is that's a contract price for the 5 years. So rather than come to the board every year asking for $29,000, $30,000, we're asking for the contracted price up front, and then that will carry us through the next 5 years for this. One of the things I do want to illustrate, the reason the Taser is such a useful tool for the police department is it gives us another means to deal with volatile situations. In the last year, we've responded to over 50 mental health, people in crisis calls, basically one a week. And it gives us a tool that, if we don't have this tool, all we have is a baton and a firearm and pepper spray. This tool allows us to de-escalate situations, if utilized, minimal side effects, and one of the biggest issues that has come from the advent of tasers is use of force has gone to a situation where officers are not getting injured, and the civilian population are not getting severely injured by tactics and the other tools that we have. So with that, I respectfully request that we get the opportunity to upgrade and get the best technology for our officers.
Thank you, Deputy Chief. That sounds like a compelling case. I'll start the Q&A with Mr. Hare.
We had a lot of conversations about tasers in 2017. It was not an automatic, let's go with tasers. I remember it well. But I'm a little confused. So we don't buy the taser? We contract with someone that provides the taser? Is that what I'm hearing?
So technically, yes, we do buy them. But it's on a lease program, and one of the things that we struggle with is we cannot sign a lease for more than 3 years, or sign a contract with a private company for more than 3 years. So what this program does is they supply the taser, all the cartridges, the training that we need for our instructors to train the rest of the officers, and then as every year goes on and we recertify, they supply us with the necessary tools. At the end of the 5 years, we have them, and then we would, like we do now currently, is we would purchase additional cartridges for them for training or for when they're used on the field.
Okay. And Kyla, is this a free cash outlay?
All capital for general fund is free cash this year.
And we can, for this type of arrangement, we can use free cash in that manner?
Yes.
It's not a pure procurement?
Well, it still has to go through procurement, but yes, it will be free cash.
Right, I'm thinking more contract or lease than procurement, but okay. All right, I'm good, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dabush?
Let's see, so did you say they're about 5 years old and the lifespan is usually 3?
No, the lifespan is 5 years.
Okay.
When they came up in 2022-ish, we did not come before the board and look to upgrade. We continued to use them. They were still working. We had additional batteries and cartridges to use. Our last requalification in July, we were told by Axon, I don't know why you guys are still using these. We're not making cartridges anymore. We were basically pulling what we have for leftover stock to refill our order.
Okay, so sorry, so they're 4 or 5 years old? Is that what you're saying?
These are pushing almost 8 now.
8 years old, okay. But on the slide here, it says the useful life is only 3 years or less. Is that because that's the contract time? Or the useful life, like with the new ones? That's the cruiser. I'm sorry. Slip down to the next slide. Okay, never mind. Okay, I'm all set.
Okay.
Mr. Kisner?
Yeah, I think this is one of those just welcome to 2026, Brian. This reminds me a little bit of the conversation we had about textbooks licenses. I was really struggling to understand those as capital expenses, and this feels really similar. Where I struggle with this one a little bit is just I don't love the idea of what it really appears to be engineered obsolescence here. We're essentially going to sign a contract that we know by the end of we're likely going to be sort of like we're on the rabbit mill, as it were. But it doesn't sound like we have an option, and I am firmly in support of the tool being in your kit. It is a wildly reasonable request. And again, I see this as meeting the expectations of where law enforcement is. We're looking for more ways to have successful de-escalated outcomes. This is meeting us where we are. Thank you.
Thank you. I just had some logistics questions. So the request is for 10. How many we have?
It's called the TASER 10.
I'm sorry?
The tool is called the TASER 10. This proposal is for 30.
For 30. That was my question. We have 30 officers, so you answered that. And it's replacing how many? The equal number?
We have, I think we have either 29 or 30.
Okay, gotcha. And what's the life expectation on these?
It would be 5 years.
5 years, okay.
And if I were to guess, Axon will come out with something greater and better in the next couple of years and start pitching it.
Thank you. No, I would agree with my colleagues. Sounds like something we need and for our safety and for our alternate options for law enforcement. So I appreciate that explanation.
Can I piggyback on that one? That but they will supply us with cartridges for a certain number of years at least, right? Even though they're going to, of course, have a better new model.
This request is everything we need for 5 years.
For 5 years, okay. And then we'll see.
Any other questions, comment? All right, let's move on to the next one.
So the next one is our typical request for 3 cruiser replacements. We do our best to cycle out our cruisers. They last about 3 years. We average somewhere between 90 and 110,000 miles in those 3 years. And the reason for the request is when we get to that point, they start falling out of warranty. We start piling up additional expenses on maintenance, and the safety of the vehicle diminishes. So this request is for the outfitting of our cruisers, also the purchase price, and unless the vehicle is in good condition, we'll either repurpose it for an officer, like the school resource officer doesn't put on a lot of miles, or we'll send it over to Elaine and says there's a use for it within the department, or we'll get a trade-in. What I've seen in the last couple years, our trade-ins have gone anywhere between $4,000 and $7,500 on the trade-ins. The equipment that can be transferred over is transferred over. Many times we find that Ford has a way of changing body styles, and equipment such as the cage in the back of the car doesn't fit, and we have to purchase a new cage to fit into the new design. However, currently we're able to move a lot of equipment over.
Thank you. Mr. Hurd?
No questions, thank you.
Mr. Kisner?
Staggered obsolescence. I know these guys are well on the capital plan. I'm used to seeing them. Thank you much.
Amy?
Yeah, no, I think, although it's a lot of money, it makes sense to do a few at a time each year so that we spread out the cost. And, that's a lot of miles to put on a car. And in 3 years, so I think we understand that have to be replaced.
Makes sense to me. I would echo. I don't have any other questions.
I just want to bring up one point that I think Mr. Herr would appreciate. One of the warrant articles is we're increasing or asking to increase our fee for cruisers on details, and that would go into a fund that we would hopefully be able to accumulate over a couple of years that we could draw from to replace our cruisers as part of our capital.
It's a good idea. Thank you. Any other question, anyone? All right. Thank you. Is that it?
Through the Vice Chair, thank you very much for all your attention to this matter.
Thank you, Chief. Thanks,
Thank you,
Deputy
guys.
Chief.
Good night.
Our next one would be Public Safety Communications. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mine is very simple. So we essentially, the only increase we have is 6.05%, I believe it is. 8.05. That is strictly contractual increases like Chief Bennett mentioned. One nuance of ours this year is it's a 2-year increase because last year at this time, we were still in negotiations, so we didn't have this current year's rates yet, so we're playing catch up. But that is the only real increase we have, and then our expenses line item, we've taken into consideration that pretty steep increase because of the contracts, and we evaluated our one line item of miscellaneous contracted services it's been there in the event of a urgent need for the radio system. And luckily we haven't needed it. So we have reduced that a little bit to a little closer to what we do need out of that line. So to try to help offset a little bit. So other than that, that's it.
Thank you. Before we start the question, can you give an idea how many, just a quick snapshot, and we know the answer, but for everyone's understanding, how many you have in the staff and where do we stand?
Sure. So there are 15 total in the whole department. That includes myself, 9 budgeted full-time dispatchers, 8 of which are filled right now, and 4 per diems.
Thank you. We'll start Q&A with Mr. Kisner.
I'm doing the math. Do you still have an open rec for a deputy? Or
Yeah, sorry, 11, or I'm sorry, 16. Yeah, that
Okay.
just opened, so it just got posted.
we fought for that for a while.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking.
Thank you for reminding me.
And Kyle, safe to assume then the budget here is fully reflective of all the positions we are discussing, even though they are not hired?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. It is upsetting to see how tanned you are, by the way. It's very cold and awful out. Thank you.
Once I got stuck in Florida.
Amy?
Yeah, and I'm guessing the large increase, the 8%, is because the deputy position, we only budgeted for a half year this year, but next year, of course, we'll have to do a full year. Okay. So
And the 2 years of contractual increases.
Right, because now we know what those will be. Yep.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Herr.
So we're paying for 2 years in the 1 year. Got it. I'm good. Thank you.
I don't have any other question. One thing I wanted to put out for future, I remember in some of the conversations we had that there were some mental health support that could be used for the health of all our employees, especially who are under stress, and it's across the nation that I hear. Is that something you are considering including as part of our practice within the department? And I was going to ask it to the police department too.
Consider it in what sense?
Just because it's such a stressful job, and a lot of support I think exists within the dispatchers and within the teams. But looking at nationwide some of the trends and others, do you see need for any support there? Something to keep in mind for future. But I just came to know about it on some of the news media and articles, so I thought I would put it out.
Yeah, I mean, we're always conscious of our staff's mental health. You know, you're right, it is a stressful job. And I always personally check in with them after a bad call. We always remind them of the town's EAP program. You know, whether or not they take it up, that's up to them to decide. But, you know, I am very conscious of their mental health, for sure.
Well, thank you for your service, and that's, you know, I think something we can support as needed and something to consider. But thank you. I think I'm good.
And I have no capital, so I'm fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello. Good evening.
Thank you for having me here.
Thank you.
So my budget increase this year, initially requested was about 3.5%. Coordinating with Kyler and Town Manager's office, at the time of that initial submission, we were still forecasting what the water and sewer increases might be, so the final budget included anticipated sewer water rate increases. So it ends up at about 4.8%, 4.7%. 75% of my budget is personnel, utilities, and contracted services. I have two line items that add up to about $90,000 for engineering services and as an emergency repair line item. So I have about 20% of my budget is really kind of what we put a lot of the time into, looking into the history of repairs and services and supplies that we do buy for just the regular operation and maintenance of the town buildings. So it's a real quick oversight of the budget.
Thank you. For question, Amy, do you want to start?
Do you have any questions about this budget? It's a pretty modest increase. And I see that some of it is due to the water sewer rates, so those come under your budget, the water and sewer of the town. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, water and sewer accounted for the $20,000 increase between the two.
Okay. I don't have any other questions.
Mr. Kisner?
One of the things I want to try and be more mindful of as we look at CapEx projects is the pass-through increase to departments like this that we ultimately don't budget for up front. I'm cognizant that the town is continuing to grow. There will be more town buildings. They will be bigger. They will have more needs. And I don't know that we necessarily think about your budget when we are having the conversation about the $60 million building, but you are where the actual work is being done at the end. So please try to remind us about that as well, but I hope we can all be a little more thoughtful about that. And thank you. This obviously looks fair and reasonable. I appreciate it.
Mr. Herr?
Thank you for the comment on
He reminds us.
including facilities.
I see you.
So, David, you went from 3.57 to 4.76 through the deliberations with your colleagues. And that was because of why? Why did it rarely go up? So I'm just curious. I'm
Water and sewer rate, rate increases were not being forecasted in his original submission.
Okay, you mentioned that. Okay, got it. Okay. All right, good. Thank you. I'm good.
I think my colleagues clarified most of it. One thing I wanted to check, do you have, top of your head, how much of it is spent on center school maintenance and now Elmwood maintenance?
Right now, the only costs for center school are an electric bill. We've been trying to track where that comes from, but we keep lights on for safety and security. It might be about $9,000, $10,000 a year.
Winterizing and others are not as much.
We've, over the last 8 years, kind of closed off everything. We boarded up windows. There's no gas service. There's no water service. So it's all just an electric cost.
Good to know that went down. How about Elmwood?
Elmwood's not mine yet, so.
Okay.
We do have a capital request through the Permanent Building Committee to start studying center school. And we're having those discussions already with the town manager's office, with the Permanent Building Committee on how we can expedite that process as compared to the center school process of when it was handed over and what we're going to do with it.
Yeah, I think that's a good learning that we can use. Thank you. I have no other questions, so we can move to the Capitol.
Okay.
Yeah, one by one. Yeah.
First one is working with Kyla, trying to create an ongoing building repair kind of capital item for facilities. We have miscellaneous repairs that none of my other line items really capture, where you just have run-of-the-mill repairs of buildings that we've been building up. This particular case for the senior center is we have damaged siding, vinyl siding, we have damaged gutters. There's probably gutter guards that should be installed in the senior center. We've got trim that's fallen apart. This year, we've identified specific projects to repair those as kind of a capital project. We have them for all the different buildings. It's just they're not high priority kind of projects, but they're projects the town shouldn't ignore for years and years. So this little, we call it a little bucket of money, will not just be used for whatever every year. Every year we go to town meeting for this capital article, we're going to list out every project that's anticipated to be done. And if we catch up in 3 or 4 years, it'll fall off the capital program.
And keep in mind, we're not authorizing 150, we're asking for 25,000. We're just looking at FY27.
Thank you for that clarification. I would start with Mr. Hare.
I have no questions. Thank you.
Mr. Kisner?
I really like this idea. I was talking about the pass-through cost of the expanding town and maintaining it, and here you were thinking creatively about it. I like this. Don't hesitate to continue to make this case and potentially at a bigger number in future budgets. I would also encourage you, as part of the CapEx process next year, start talking to us about what the cost of not maintenance looks like, because I think that's invisible by the time you get to us. But as we're thinking about approving the spend tonight, I don't think a lot of people in the town would fully appreciate. Much like if we don't maintain Kerry's roads, they're really expensive to relay a new road, very expensive to build a new building. So just again, help us make the case to lobby for you here, and don't hesitate to come with a bigger ask if there is a remediation plan that you have around those buildings. You're not exactly asking for Ferraris, you're asking to keep the lights on.
Thank you. Amy?
No, I think this makes sense. Obviously, little things are going to come up from year to year, storm damage and other things. So I think it makes sense to have a little money in there so that you're ready to take care of things promptly before they get worse.
Thank you. I would echo the same. I think it makes sense. My only, and I like, Kaila, that you have projected it out, so we have a good picture. My only question would be, when you're projecting it out, would you not want to add the inflation adjustment every year?
We'll review it every year. So every year when we come back before you, as well as the capital committee, we'll assess what the project is that needs to be completed, and then we'll revise that number.
Right now, it's more of a placeholder. Makes sense. Thank you. Anyone else? Anything else?
No.
All right. The next one?
The next one is kind of a phase 2 of the police station HVAC upgrade project. Last fiscal year, last town meeting, the town approved funds for the design of the improvements. We've gone through an RFQ process. We have a designer on board, and we've done an initial walkthrough and kickoff meeting with the mechanical designer, with the intent to hopefully be able to get to town meeting with a little more of a reliable number on what a construction project might be. We've done initial assessments with engineering firms, but big picture to come up with this number, the 1.5 million number. It's also based off of, some history of the other building projects. The fire department project was an HVAC project. That went, that was kind of stuck in the COVID cycle, so the costs skyrocketed for that project. We had to go back to town meeting a couple times. But hopefully by the time we get to town meeting, we'll have a more comfortable kind of number to go with, but we think it's going to be within this range. And this will be to upgrade the heating and cooling systems of the police station.
As well as the insulation.
Yes, I'm sorry, as well as other building systems that it would address some of the past problems with the building. We had a sprinkler pipe that burst in that building a couple of years ago. Simply due to the way the building was constructed. It was constructed to code, it was built correctly. There's just a limited amount of insulation between the attic and the sprinkler pipes above the second floor ceiling. So this project is looking to address that. We had an estimate of just under $100,000 to address that, to add an additional layer of insulation above. It's an unused space, it's unconditioned, so it's just a really cold space. We believe this will address that future concern of sprinklers breaking for the same reason or freezing.
Thank you. We can start with Mr. Kisner.
Thanks. Not a ton of concern here. Kyla, can you remind me, is this contract required as well from a union contract perspective? I know when we did fire last year and we had the HVAC conversation, it was union facing. Is this one union facing as well?
Yeah, it was union facing, correct.
Okay. Not that I wouldn't be in support of it anyway, but I think it's important to highlight to the town that this is one of those things that's also negotiated as part of our contracts.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Herr?
No questions, thank you.
Amy?
No, I don't think I have any questions. More insulation is always good. Helps our bills. Yeah.
I just have one quick question. What is the life expectation for this?
For your typical heating, cooling systems, 15, 20 years.
Yep.
Insulation, a lot more.
I was at the police station last year for the town manager's interviews. We spent like more than half a day, and it was 100 degrees inside.
And that's what Matt was getting to about union facing. So there's a concern about the work environment
Sure.
with the people, with the police officers that work there. So we didn't want to have disgruntled union employees.
No, absolutely. This makes total sense. Thank you.
And they tend to wear a lot of stuff that's heavy. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
The next capital request is the Fruit Street Garage assessment and design. The Fruit Street Garage used to be was used temporarily for DPW operations when we were building the new DPW. Further history, does anybody recall, that was the original DPW? Was DPW ever there before? No, there was a DPW admin building that was there, was the little cape there. But the building continues to be used by all departments for vehicle storage, boat storage. The town stores probably millions of dollars of equipment in that building. Last 5 years has been a discussion about having a capital article to do this or not having a capital article to do this. Is the building going to be used for this or for that? Facilities manager, director finally said, we got to fix this building this year because we're storing millions of dollars of equipment in there. We have leaks. The electrical system is in need of upgrade. The sprinkler system needs to be upgraded. The equipment needs to be protected. We also have equipment from Board of Health. We've had files in there that get damaged and have to be thrown away because of exposed to the elements and exposed to critters. So we really need to address that building. I'm asking for $75,000 to kind of do a planning effort, as well as planning is to assess what's going to be needed from a mechanical standpoint for a fire, the sprinkler system, the electrical system, the building envelope, which is your doors and windows, painting of the building. We're going to have to do a hazardous material assessment to do all that work, as well as design of all of that, including site work. The parking lot is falling apart, the pavement, so there needs to be work done to that building. This isn't the smaller building, it's the bigger garage building. I've talked about possibly doing assessment to knock it down and build a whole nother building, but I don't see that as a path with the current fiscal status of the town. We don't need another $5 million project to make that building bigger. In my mind, I see it as more as a priority. It has to be addressed now to seal it up and protect the equipment that's in there.
Thank you.
This year it's 75, and I estimated maybe $250,000 to do the building envelope work, upgrade the electrical, and paint the building and do some site work.
But we're just focused on 27.
Right.
That's okay.
Thank you for the clarification. One quick question, and I'll pass on to my colleagues, is was the estimation based on an RFP or based on the experts, including yourself?
Is the what?
The estimation for the repair cost?
The estimate for the repair cost, I'm trying to remember how many years ago, 6, 7 years ago, maybe 8 years ago, the town hired an MEP firm. We did an assessment of all of our town buildings to look at the development of a long-term capital plan. So it's a lot of the information I use for the capital plan we currently have, plus this applying contingencies and increases over the years.
So you projected from that, and I assume from the planning and design sessions, you'll be able to project it better for the construction cost.
Correct, yes. The money from fiscal year 27 will be used to develop an accurate construction estimate for what the final construction project will be.
Thank you. Amy, do you?
No, I can see the building needs maintenance, and I think I don't have any other questions.
Mr. Hare?
I'm struggling with the use of the building. I know the building well. It's down there forever on Fruit Street with the kids, right? So we all know it. It's an eyesore for the community and the guests of the community that come in and go to those fields all the time. But I didn't know there was that much stuff in there, whatever that is. And I guess we kind of taken a step back and said, what else can we do here besides spend all this money on this building that's clearly in need of a lot of work? Like, is this what we have to do?
Yeah, I think the issue is, there's a lot there, we have the space need. So as Dave mentioned, it's either store the items here or build another building, or tear down this building and replace it. So I think given, the financial forecasts, I think the thought is, well, let's see if we can upgrade this older building and continue to use it.
Have you guys talked to the Permanent Building Committee about all this?
Yes. Yeah, I work with the Permanent Building Committee. They know the projects that I'm submitting for capital, but for 27, I'll keep them involved. There's usually on the project and the status, but it ends up, it's that or store $15, $20 million worth of equipment, vehicles outside.
Yeah, and if you mentioned that in your conversation, I'm sorry. I was caught up in something else at the same time. I'm a lean enterprise business person, and lean enterprise thinking, you go back to the drawing board and you analyze from 28 different angles, and you maximize the use of space, obviously. It just seems like this one, we're just going to throw some money into a building that's somewhat in disrepair and go from there. I think I would prefer we take a step back. I'd go hire somebody for 100 Gs and study this thing and figure out what the town really needs long-term. I'd rather do that before we just go fix this thing up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hare. Mr. Kisner?
It's a full moon. I sound like Brian Hurt tonight. It's great. I echo Mr. Hurt's sentiments on just about everything. I want to separate what I see as two issues being presented to us as linked. There is a problem in which equipment is being inadequately stored, which is putting at risk town finances and investments. That is mutually exclusive from whether or not I repair this building where they are currently stored. I understand the condition of that building helps put those assets at risk or not at risk, but those are separate conditions for me. I have significant concern that my Director of Facilities and Engineering is here escalating to me that I have town assets and investments at risk. I'm there with you. We should do something about that. I echo Mr. Hurst's sentiments that it doesn't sound like we adequately understand what the requirements of this building and space are, other than Grok need building to put metal in, Grok hide things from rain and element. I can appreciate that. I don't know that I'm as comfortable throwing the good money after bad here. I really do want to echo Brian. I think we need to step back and have a fit-for-purpose conversation, not just from a facilities and engineering perspective, What do we think should be in there? Why should it be in there? Is it strategically stored? Are there things we should be moving around? I really appreciate your fiscal discipline and prudence about not wanting to bring another project forward. This is the sort of project I actually do think I would want to be talking about. This is risk-based protection of significant other town assets, and it would obviously have other benefits. I'm not advocating for a $5 million project here. I'm just not sure that this is an appropriate Band-Aid either.
And if I didn't explain with enough detail, this is kind of in coordination with the senior center, police station, fire station, DPW. They all have key vehicles that they store there that they have nowhere else to store. So we've had those discussions at a town senior leader level. Right now, it's become a situation where the only place to store these, $3 million bucket truck or whatever it was. So you're going to maintain the life of that vehicle, which is, if you extend vehicles' lives for 5 years because we spend $250,000, we'll save millions of dollars on the capital budget.
I think you've just effectively escalated a significant concern to the executive level.
I've been advocating for what do we want to do with this building for a while. Prior to Elaine, what are we doing with this? Because there's always been discussion about possibility of doing this, possibility of doing that. Are we building another this? Are we building another that? With the financial forecast that we see over the next few years, I didn't think it was anybody's interest for me to look to build another building to address a need we have now.
What does it cost us, the town, through the chair, what does it cost us, the town, to be having a conversation about how to adequately store those things, renting a space? I'm not going to pretend I know what it looks like or that that's a simple solution, but perhaps that's how the money is allocated, and then we're having a better conversation about fit for purpose. So to Mr. Hurst's point, I would really encourage you to reconsider the solutions and the approach on this one.
Right, and
Could I suggest,
again,
Chair, that we maybe table this for now? We have a lot of budgets to get through. We could ask Dave to come back, maybe?
all right, and just the last thing, construction would be requested next year.
I mean, we're ultimately not approving the budget.
This is a request for planning funds to do exactly what I think we're all talking about here, and figure out if that's the best approach.
Thank you. I think we are echoing the same, and I hear that this is the planning session, our planning and design, so all great points. I would echo the same, and it goes to all our buildings, right? We had experience there to some extent with the center school, kind of spending on maintenance for quite some time without really having a full-blown utilization or plan. But things like this, I thank you for bringing up, and that's what gave us the opportunity to discuss. We'll probably discuss more, but those are kind of takeaways that if you want to include that as part of the planning process as well, that what the larger scale purpose of these buildings are, and can we repurpose it? Can we do other utilization of these so we optimize our assets and not only spend on maintenance for something that may become expensive over life. Thank you. Anything else?
We have 6 more.
I hear your comments, so thank you. The next one is the senior center HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning assessment.
All right.
As a phase 1 project, senior center, their equipment, it's coming up to 20 years old already. Equipments are already beyond their useful life. So phase 1 is going to be following like the model we're using for the police station. We're going to hire a designer with the funds been requesting at this town meeting for the next town meeting to have a construction request. This project is in coordination, all of them are, with the Permanent Building Committee.
Thank you. I'll start with Mr. Herr.
I'm okay with the planning portion of this. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Kisner? Amy?
Yep, the system is old. I understand it has to be replaced. It will be expensive. Yeah.
Thank you. I would agree the same, and no further question. Next one?
Next one.
Vehicle replacement?
Yeah. Facilities has, in the 15 years I've been here, requested 1 vehicle. the last round of hand-me-down vehicles that the facilities received from the building inspector department and the fire department, as well as one from the police department, which we drove for about 9 months before it literally drove itself off the road, has been auctioned off. They were just too expensive to make the repairs. The current 2011 Tahoe that we drive around has 92,000 miles on it. The horn don't work. We have other problems. Once these vehicles gets handed down, they get, all the emergency vehicle stuff gets taken out of them. So half the time you'll have, the armrests are gone, half the dashboard's gone, the back seats that are taken out of the things. We're driving around the 2013 Explorer from the old building inspector, and it now has 104,000 miles on it. So we effectively have 2 vehicles that we're really driving around that are, you know, roadworthy. This was originally staggered, that's from 2 years, but the 2010 Taurus that we had from the police station, we didn't expect it to, it had lower mileage, but it just, I'm not sure why, maybe just the year, it was 2010, 15 years old. So we're asking for two vehicles. We're going to look at hybrid vehicles, kind of an SUV. We have a pickup from 2021 that does the heavy lifting for the department. That was, I think, the one vehicle we asked for 4 or 5 years ago. But a portion of that was encumbered from my department. I think up to $15,000 or $20,000 was encumbered from the facilities department to pay for that vehicle. In the 2017 Ford Fusion that we have was through a grant. So I'm asking for these 2 vehicles for about $100,000 so that we'll have 4 vehicles on the road that we can use for our staff that works tremendously hard. I have a great staff at the moment. I'd like to be able to have them drive vehicles that they don't have to worry about. Half the time, we have people driving their own vehicles right now.
Thank you, Dave. We'll start with Amy.
No, I think it makes sense. These vehicles are old, have a lot of miles, so I don't have any other questions.
Mr. Kizna?
Yeah, when we get to future agenda, I'm going to want to talk more about the snake eating itself that is town vehicles, but I have no question here.
Mr. Harris?
I'm okay. We've pushed back over the years many times on vehicles, at different times. I think with the free cash, this is not a bad year to get caught up on some of these vehicles. That said, I'd be remiss if I didn't, acknowledge that a lot of our residents drive vehicles a lot more miles than what we're talking about here. They don't get the same kind of, wear and tear on them that we do. I mean, I see the DPW folks and the facilities folks at town, public safety events all the time, not events like hanging out, like when we had the situation out here with the building collapse and everything. There's a lot of vehicles involved, and they have to operate well to do their job, and for their, the drivers to do their job, obviously, too. So I'm okay with this year with getting caught up here.
Thank you. I'm okay as well. I think you made the detail on the need and the case, and for something that's kind of been waiting, I think it looks reasonable. Next one.
Thank you. Next one is in coordination with the senior center for upgrading, replacement of their kitchen equipment, kitchen appliances. They're commercial grade appliances. Never really had, and it's been a missing kind of capital program for years, but in coordination with Kyler and Elaine, town manager's office, and Amy back over to senior center. Over the next few years, we're going to continue replacing those appliances that are 15, almost 20 years old now. We had a request last year, I think, that passed, and we just upgraded the gas range, as well as all the other building code requirements that come along with that. Next year, we're going to be replacing the cooling system for the walk-in freezer, that's the condensing unit, the fans, as well as the door to the walk-in freezer. We received cost estimates from a company that provides these as backup to all this. So it's not so much a guess. It's based on real proposals as well as, some contingencies for, they don't install the electricity, they don't install some of the plumbing work. They deliver the equipment, remove the old stuff.
Thank you, Dave. I would request you to speed up a little bit. I think we're short on time now.
Only a couple more.
All right, we'll start with Amy.
Yeah, so it looks like about $40,000 a year for the next 4 years. So you'll do portions of the project each year until you get everything all done?
Yes, and I'm not sure we're going to go out to 28 as was working with the senior center, and they've been able to find other funding, so we've been able to do other equipment with grants and with.
Yeah, I know the senior center is 20 years old, and the seniors really enjoy eating there, and so we need to have a good working order kitchen.
Mr. Kizna?
You believe you have appliances that have lasted 20 years. It's simply incredible. I just want to note this is not the first that has noted the collaboration between the finance with Kyla and the town manager's office. So just highlighting how collaborative this has been. We're seeing a lot of really creative proposals this year. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Mr. Hurd.
It's better to buy a house that's 25 years old than buy a house that's 15 or 20 years old, because they take care of all the stuff, after it fails at 15 to 20 years. So the senior center does great things for the community, and I think we should support it.
Thank you. I think it looks reasonable and, of course, needed for our seniors and the center continuing its operation. One quick question I had is for Kyla. I see the projections, and we have seen it on a couple others. So this year, we are having free cash, which is going to help. But in subsequent years, at some point, we'll probably need to calculate and see how much we are already kind of getting a little bit stuck with investing further.
Yep.
And as I see more and more, it's growing, of course, for good reasons, but something to keep on radar. So I already think we are approaching more than $1 million or two, maybe you have even bigger number that are already accounted for with these projects that are starting this year, but will have impact for the next 2-3 years.
Yeah, and these are just projections for 28. You haven't even, you've seen the capital plan, the 5-year capital plan, so you've seen the total that's already estimated out there.
Okay, thank you. Next one, Dave?
Next one is replacement of the mini split systems in Town Hall over the next couple of years, the older ones. We're over 10 years old already. With the newer systems, they'll be more efficient and provide heating and cooling. We have several units in Town Hall that just provide cooling because they're so old. These units included. So that's what this one is for. The ones in the second floor, this building. There's 4 heads that we can probably, we're anticipating replacing with these monies.
Thank you. Amy?
Yeah, I'm surprised that they need replacing after just 10 years. I mean, obviously, if they're not working, we need to replace them, but I thought most heating and split systems last longer than 10 years.
Yeah, it's in coordination with the other capital request is an assessment of the heating and cooling of this building. Switching over to systems that do both heating and cooling will allow us possibly to do something different with the main heating system in the building, the boiler and the hot water system.
Okay. So
which we will assess with the next capital request is to do an assessment of the heating system here in Town Hall. And
yeah, can I just ask, is it these systems, they're fairly new, right? But these are only...
They're fairly new, but they only do cooling.
They're only cooling, okay.
Yeah, and a lot of the ones on this floor do. These are the older systems that I put in
okay.
many years ago. There was an original request 12, 14 years ago to do central air in the building, which just didn't gain traction. So We kind of have a lot of these splits.
I don't have any objection if it's needed, I just was surprised.
Yeah, no, they seem to be a technology that's come a long way in 10 years.
Mr. Kisner?
Yeah, I don't want to schwitz in here, so please, thank you for taking care of us and the other employees who work here every day.
Mr. Hurd?
I'm all set, thank you.
I'm all good. Thank you. Let's go to the next one.
And the last one is just...
Kyla, you want to?
Two more? Oh, no. Oh, yeah, I forgot the Elmwood one. The biggest one of all. Town hall heating assessment is the boiler. The boiler needs to be upgraded. We've had problems this year. We almost didn't get it running. But that's going to be in coordination with, the newer technologies. And that's why I'm looking for money to do an assessment of the heating system, to take into account all the split systems, the central air system we have upstairs, along with the boiler system, as well as the little central system we have down in the basement. Everything's segmented, and we want to get it running as much as we can, as cost efficiently we can with newer technology, with the town's goals for net zero, and along sustainable greens, commitment to working on town becoming more green.
Thank you. How old is the current system?
The boiler system, the boiler's probably 15 years old now, maybe a little older. I think it might have been replaced, it was replaced before I was here. I just don't know if it was 2 years or 5 years before I was here. It's hard to track that down.
Thank you, Mr. Hurd.
No questions.
Mr. Kisner?
Oh, please and thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you. Last one?
Yes, last one, sorry. Elmwood School, we touched on it. On another project, Permanent Building Committee is on board with this project. They're going to be moving this project forward. They presented to the board a couple of years ago, bigger picture, Center School, Elmwood School. So this $75,000 will probably, following the model of Center School, from a hazardous material inspection report to appraisal services for the property, and some planning services to determine what options are available to the town for that property. And the amount being requested falls in line with about what some of those services cost for the Center School.
Thank you. Mr. Kisner?
Indoor paintball facility. You can have the catharsis of getting over your school trauma. No, I appreciate that we are thinking creatively about how to take advantage of the town asset. Thank you.
Amy?
Yeah, no, I'm really pleased that we're doing this now. I think we waited too long to do this sort of thing with Center School, and it sat there for too long. So studying it now, and then we can figure out what we might want to do with it, and what are the best options later, I think is a really good idea, and we have the free cash to cover it.
Mr. Hurd?
Would it include possibly selling that asset to a private developer?
Yes, I believe that's already kind of been one of the options the Permanent Building Committee looked at, either entirety, subdividing the property, using the whole property. All those would be looked at.
I'd be okay with the 75 grand for planning and to sort of assess what we should do here. But if we're going to keep it for whatever reason that might be, I would not be interested in doing that until this other debt is under control 4 or 5 years out. So we'd have to stage that out a little bit.
Thank you. Yeah, I would echo the same. I was looking at, on year 3, it's 10 million. We don't, that'll be a sticker shock. But my quick question is, in the planning, what is your scope and how do you come up with the estimation? For a larger scale project like this, depending on which route we go, it sounds a little small to me.
It's based on the different phases for the Center School project. We had borrowed some money to do the hazardous material report and inspection. We used some funds to do an appraisal of the property to see what it was worth. We actually hired an appraisal firm. It was
Sure. Thank you.
$9,000. And then we also hired consulting services to do an initial planning to see what options the town, and that part includes some public outreach and some meetings.
Thank you. To clarify my question, what can we expect at the end of the planning phase? Is it like
Hopefully, what the town wants to do with this property.
basically the options analysis and with some more detail as
Yes,
what are,
and from my standpoint, not just the options, but which option
okay.
would be beneficial as opposed to letting it go on and on for years.
Thank you. No, I like that we started early or on time, I should say. But we have to
Yeah, and
speed up.
the $10 million, I'm sorry, on the plan is just based on when the school projects might be opening and when that building will be the town's.
Right, yeah, understood. No, thanks for clarifying. Thank you. That is it. Did it. Thank you, I appreciate it. Our last one with DPW. Kerry is here.
I really wish everybody could see how excited Kyla is when like they get up to leave. It's like she's watching the child go to like college and they're getting out of the car.
Proud of everything.
That's what I mean. It's awesome to see that leadership from you. Thank you.
Almost there. Thank you. Good evening. So we're looking at the operating budget first.
All right, good evening. I'm Carrie Reed. I'm the Director of Public Works. The DPW is proposing a general fund operating budget for FY27 of $5.7 million. It's an overall 0.6% increase from FY26. Some of the key highlights of the operating general fund budget, because we will also have operating enterprise budget. So you have to appreciate that my presentation is about twice as long as Dave's. So sit all in there for that. One of the big changes that you'll see is that I'm proposing to change a change to the way that the personnel is accounted for to increase transparency and improve financial management in the enterprise funds. I propose to change from indirect to direct funding for 3 of the current positions, currently full positions, the water and sewer manager, the water and sewer assistant manager, and the water and sewer billing coordinator. So their salaries would be moved from the DPW admin under the general fund, which is on the top line, and they would be moved to the water and sewer enterprises funds and be funded directly. Right now, basically, the enterprise funds pay back the general fund. There are no changes proposed to those positions. It's just the way we account for them. So you'll see that budget drops out of the general fund, but it increases in the water and sewer later. The other personnel change, just like you heard from the others, is that our union also negotiated a new contract, and that accounts for about an 8% increase in wages, which you'll see in salary and overtime. So then when we start talking about expenses, to meet the budget message for pavement management, we are level funded, not level service. So we're spending the same amount of money last year, or proposing to spend the same amount last year as we will next year. Costs are going up, so you're gonna get less roads repaved for the same amount of money. We rely very heavily on Chapter 90 funding, which comes from the state. We were very fortunate last year that the administration supported a larger amount than we expected, but that's not a reliable funding source, and we do use it for more than half of our pavement work. So if we get additional funding from the state, and you can talk to your state representatives and advocate for that, we'll be able to do more work, but at this present time with the level funding, you cannot expect that more roads will be paved next year than were this year. And we have a continuing growth of backlog. We have budgeted for additional operation and maintenance costs for signals, signs, landscaping, and sidewalk infrastructure that was or will be installed as part of the Main Street project and the Charleswood School project, more specifically the Hayden Row improvements that are being part of the Charleswood School projects. These are both expected to be complete this summer, and then the O&M responsibilities are going to be transferred to the DPW for all this new infrastructure and green space. So that increases you see under the traffic signal and the tree warden line items. This budget supports the Lake Maspinock Weed Control Citizen Advisory Group's recommendation for herbicide treatment at Lake Maspinock in FY27. This budget supports maintenance for the town's fuel island, wash bay, and maintenance garage. So the DPW is responsible for operating and maintaining these facilities that support the entire town's fleet. So, police, fire, the senior center's bus, any other staff vehicles, they all use the same fuel island, the wash bay, and the maintenance bay. And because of the age and because of the high use of these facilities, we need to increase the maintenance budget for them. This budget includes contractual price increases for materials and services, specifically trash and recycling, landscaping, salt and paving, which are built into those contracts. I also want to note at this point that our contracts with E.L. Harvey for the curbside trash and recycling pickup, as well as our contract with Wheelabrator Wind Waste for trash disposal, expire in FY28. So although this budget reflects a pretty modest increase, in FY28, when those contracts get renegotiated, I would expect a much larger increase in those costs. This budget proposes to eliminate the electronics waste recycling program, which I've spoken with the select board about previously. This is not just a cost savings, but it is also a better recycling program that I think aligns better with the town's sustainability goals. So it's my opinion that the current program is a little bit too convenient, and it doesn't encourage residents to actually reduce and reuse electronics in their waste. And we have a lot of great other options, such as the Hopkins Sustainable Green Committee's annual Recycling and Reuse Day, which at this point I would like to plug is on Saturday, April 4th from 10 to 1 o'clock at Marathon School. But they do that as an annual event, which provides an alternative, which I personally feel is more green and more sustainable than the option that we currently have with E.L. Harvey, which is convenient and cheap for our residents, but again, doesn't really support our overall goals for sustainability, in my personal opinion. And lastly, in terms of our operating budget, you will see that the storm response and the snow and ice budgets are level funded. They continue to be responsive. As you've previously discussed, the snow and ice budget spending is allowed to go over budget by state law. So the difference will be covered in free cash. So the budget is $350,000, but as you can see, the average is closer to between $750,000 and $850,000, and this year we're going to be about $1.2 million and rising. So that will have to be covered by free cash for the difference. Storm response, which is separate, is mostly to deal with wind and rainstorms, which are increasing. So the way the state law works, we can spend over for snow and ice, but we can't spend over for emergencies with wind and rain, which we're seeing a lot of. So we have a separate budget for that, but that has to stay within budget. And when it goes over budget, as it always does, we have to supplement it with the highway funding. And the last thing I wanted to mention about the snow and ice budgets, because it is level funded, it does not include increased rates for snow plows, which I would highly recommend for FY27, that we increase their rates. So that is what I have for the general fund operating budget. Do you have any questions before we move on?
Thank you. Let's go over this first, and then we'll go to the next. Mr. Hurd?
Hi, Carrie. You mentioned for the manager for water and sewer, and how many positions was that you're going to move to the enterprise fund?
3 positions.
So if we move those 3 positions from the DPW to the enterprise funds, the town pays for the DPW, the rate or the users pay for the enterprise funds. So are they then carrying a higher burden on their budget? In other words, the ratepayers are paying for that more than the overall town paying for the DPW for those positions? Do you know?
No, the ratepayers are paying for those positions now. It's just paid out of the general fund, and then the ratepayers and the rates and the enterprise fund pay it back.
So it gets transferred over?
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
So you don't see it in expenses, you see it in the back when we do the revenue and.
So this is not a disadvantage to the ratepayers for water and sewer?
No, it's direct versus indirect.
Okay, all right,
And
great.
like I said, I think it provides a little bit more transparency and it makes it easier to understand.
Got it, thank you. And then my question, as you might imagine, on the corridor and maintaining the corridor, what amount of money was that exactly to maintain the corridor once it's done?
We are proposing $28,000 in addition for downtown beautification, which is mostly for managing the green space and the new accessories that have been put in as part of downtown.
Like all the little gardens and stuff like that?
Like the benches, the new trash cans, the street trees, the grates around the street trees, things like that.
Who's going to take care of all the gardens along the corridor that are going to be there now? I mean, they're mostly from kind of dry cleaners to the other side of the common.
I am proposing that that gets included in the tree warden budget and that right now we have it subcontracted, and I would recommend continuing to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, most of the grass green spaces, like the one right by the library, the DPW can maintain, but some of the ones with a little bit more landscaping and shrubs and plants and all those, I think it should be a landscaper that handles it.
I don't have a strong opinion on how you do it, as long as we get it done. Because we've all lived through 10 years of hell here, putting up with this project. We've got 6 more months, and it's gonna be really nice. And if in 2 years later it's one big weed fest, it will all be for naught. So we gotta make sure we figure that out and not let it slide.
So I will point out, all this is in the tree warden budget. If you look at the tree warden budget and you look under personnel services, the budget's zero. There is no staff. I'm the tree warden. There's no management staff for that. So that's going to be part of a challenge and part of the reason why we have to subcontract it.
Yeah, I'm okay with subcontracting it, but we got to make sure we give you the money to get it done. Again, we shouldn't have done this project if we were just going to let it turn into a big mess, right? So we want this to be Boston Common out here when it's done. And Boston Common is maintained amazingly, and that's what we're looking for. So the community chirps in my ear all the time about what it's going to be like 2 years down the road. And we got to make sure we deliver on that. So if you don't have enough money, Elaine, you got to let us know. Right?
Got it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kisner?
Help me understand why there is a target for snow and ice at all if we're ultimately just going to pay what we need. I'm concerned that we're having a little bit of like, it feels almost as though it's a potential shell where you could really put any number there, but it influences how your budget appears relative to your peers, what percentage increase it is, and we're never going to come back and reconcile you against what you spent for snow and ice. So this is not necessarily a criticism that you're spending too much. Please spend more, in fact. I will not be upset. But I want to understand how we're choosing the number that we put into the budget, knowing that it is not fully reflective, and what the impact of that is as you are having budget conversations in other departments.
The 350 that has been budgeted this year has been the number that's been historically used. And since it's the one budget item that you are allowed to go over and offset with free cash, we leave it at 350 because you can't go under, it goes back to free cash anyway.
Yeah, this is not me challenging that. This is me saying, why not budget zero?
The state law requires you to have a certain amount, so you can't.
Okay, and without getting too into the weeds, I would love to maybe in the background understand what that minimum target number is. We're obviously going to do what we need to do, but that is potential budgetary that could be more accurately reflected elsewhere. We could be helping lift all tides, knowing that we're always going to take care of you over there. Thank you.
Amy?
Yeah, I had questions about the e-waste. So you're talking about the shed that we have at the on Wood Street, right? Harvey's, so we can't do e-waste there now, is that?
They have e-waste there now. It's a dumpster, and they charge us a fee. It ends up being about $500, $600 a month. We had rates. We don't have an ability to collect those right now.
So now some people, we won't have a dumpster for e-waste next year, is that right?
I'm sorry, can you please?
We won't have the dumpster for e-waste next?
That's what I'm proposing. I would get rid of it.
Okay, and then people, so people would have to just go once or twice a year to dispose of them, or find someplace else to dispose if they have a broken television or something?
Right, they would have to find something else. I mean, the Hopkins Sustainable Green Committee has great information on their website. Most of the big box stores like Staples has a thing, so when you buy one, they'll take your old one back. There's several fundraisers in town for electronic waste, for nonprofits, so they benefit. We're actually taking away business from them.
Yeah, so we just have to really communicate that, I think, because people are used to being able to take a TV or a monitor there. Yeah. Okay, and then the herbicides, that's under one of these line items. And has that been decided yet, or are we waiting to see how the drawdown goes if we need herbicides?
The Citizen Advisory Group is recommending herbicide treatment, and it's built into the budget, so.
Okay, but you evaluate each year whether it's really needed, though, right?
We evaluate each year, and they evaluate it this year, and that's what they're recommending to move forward with.
And you'll go with their recommendation, or you gave input into the?
I've been involved in conversations, and
And you think it really is needed this year?
I do. If the overall town goals are to maintain the recreational use and health of the lake, yes.
And if people want to read more about it, is there a presentation they could get from the committee? Or
there is a ton of information on the DPW's website under Lakes and Ponds, all the previous reports, all the annual surveys, all the presentations that the Citizen Advisory Group has given. In addition to that, the Lake Maspinock Preservation Association has additional information about the specific weeds, the water quality sampling results. this and that. The information for the permit from the Conservation Commission is also on the website, so everything is publicly available for anybody that
On
wants
the
to do the
DPW
research.
website? Okay, yeah, I know, because it makes me very nervous, the idea of using the herbicides and worrying that they're not really going to be effective or could cause more problems. But I would point people to your website.
Thank you. I just have some quick clarification. The first one, you're down almost 20% on the DPW admin. Is that sustainable? Or that's how it's going to be kind of allocated to the enterprise fund and
Yeah, it's
going to be managed?
direct versus indirect for the enterprise.
Okay, and this will be the norm going forward. Thank you. The second one is, just in overall, I see it's only 0.62% increase. And I was referring to, or thinking about your initial statement that it is level funding and not level service. Can you elaborate on that? Should we expect degradation of service because of this? If so, what is the number you had in mind, or have you analyzed that we would need to do level service?
Well, on the presentation, it has the recommended amount and then the final amount. So the recommended amount is what we would need for level service. And then the reductions were based on managing the budget. As you've seen now, DPW has one of the larger general fund budgets that has most wiggle room. So when you're trying to balance a budget, that's where the cuts have to be made.
Thank you. Can you give us the number? What is the difference?
The original request was $5,916,000, and the recommended budget is now $5,669,000.
So about 300,000.
Roughly.
Right, yeah. Is that a big concern, or you think it's manageable? Of course, the services that you have touches everyone's lives, the residents, the roads, the trash, the trees, and everything. So are we compromising too much for 300,000?
The big cut is with the pavement management program. So the original request was for $800,000, and we level funded at $600,000. So that's where the big chunk of $200,000 came from.
Like I said, we're not going to be able to pave as many roads, so people are going to have to expect that they're not going to be as good. I mean, they're not bad, they're not, obviously we prioritize, but
Understood. Thank you.
that's it. And we also had asked for a project manager position. You're going to see that we're requesting a lot of capital work and a lot needs to be done. We definitely need more help with engineering services and project management services. So I do have concerns about our ability to keep up with it. We're going to have to hire consultants to help us out. I think it could be more sustainable if we had town staff that was doing it.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Through the chair, I think we, the town, made a bit of a passive decision around pavement management when we didn't fund it at the last time. I think it was 2 town meetings ago, we didn't fund the pavement management plan. I don't think we said it this way. I wasn't on the board at the time, but we certainly haven't said it this way since. We essentially elected to go to a run-to-fail plan on roads in the town at that point. I don't know that that was the right decision. I don't know that everybody understood that that's the decision they were making, but unless we recover quickly on the maintenance of roads in town, we have essentially opted to a run-to-fail model. I would expect to continue to see a degradation in what you were requesting for maintenance because you're going to be unable to maintain the old roads. This is a very fancy way of saying for anybody listening, it's eventually going to be significantly more expensive that we chose to not spend the money now. This is a zero-sum game here, folks. It's always going to cost money to have roads in town. It costs less to maintain them over time than it does to mill and relay them. Our decisions and your sticker shock at town meeting has put us in a position in which you will pay significantly more down the road for worse quality roads in the interim. I hope this upsets you and that you give us and others in town feedback about this, and you challenge us and others in town to come back with a remedial plan. This is not aimed at you, Kerry.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you. I think wanted to emphasize on that the same way that we always advocate for tight budget, and thank you for everyone's effort in doing that, but at the same time, we want to make sure we provide the right quality of service. So this is one of those, and my recommendation would be to go back and see if there is any other way we can accommodate some of it, so we don't go into a much dire state in a couple of years and come back with more bigger capital investments or capital spend. I know it's tough, but something as a town administration, you know best how to manage this. Something to consider. With that, we can move to the next.
Chair, sorry, real quick. So with that comment, and I would agree with that comment, do we have money in the overall budget for a little bit more here?
No.
No. That was a pretty quick no.
Maintaining the wish list.
We have the wish list.
But to the discussion, I don't know that we want to find more money here for pavement management, given the decisions that we've already made. Like, the ball has already begun rolling. I think it would cost us additional funds above and beyond to stand and recover it and stop the boulder. Like, the coyote pushed it. It is rolling down now.
One of the capital requests that you'll see is for a pavement management plan that will outline what will be required for the next 5 years. So.
But we have to stick to it.
Correct. I think we move forward with that, and then that will define how the town needs to move forward after that plan.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move to the capital ones.
All right, so we're moving to general fund capital.
Oh, sorry. Yep.
Okay, we can do that. All right, so I don't know the presentation, but yeah, I have all the stuff. I would just ask, because the fire chief and the deputy chief have been gracious enough to stick around because they had interest. Oh, the deputy leave? He was here. He was here. He was holding on as long as he could. So I want to bring up first that we were proposing as a capital project a vehicle undercarriage pressure washer system. So I don't know if we can pull that one up. I know we got to skip the fifth one.
Good idea.
There we go. So this is something that's being, I would say, jointly sponsored by the DPW and the fire department. As I mentioned earlier, the DPW is responsible for maintenance of the entire town fleet, and specifically the wash bay, our maintenance bay, and our fuel system. So this little tiny picture is our wash bay, which the entire town fleet uses. And we are proposing this underwasher system to remove corrosive salt and mud. So I think everybody can appreciate the impacts of salt on vehicles at this point. And it's going to prolong the life of our fleet, and is something that was brought up by the fire department, but also by police, the senior center bus, the building inspector who goes out to a lot of sites and needs to wash off his vehicle. So I want to note that this piece of equipment was included in the original design of the DPW, but it was not installed due to budgetary constraints at that time.
Thank you. Mr. Hurd?
I'm okay.
Mr. Kizner?
Gonna save us money in the long run. Good idea.
Yeah.
Amy?
Objections?
Thank you. I'm good too. Let's go to the next one.
Oh, no. Yeah, I got my visual aids. I'll be all right. But thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Yeah, I felt bad. So overall, capital projects, I'm proposing, or before you tonight, 9 different capital projects under the general fund, totaling about $4.8 million, all being funded by free cash. So I don't know if y'all want me to go through them each line by line, or if you...
For the sake of time, if you want to go just like 1 minute on each or 30 seconds on each, and then we'll have questions all together. Everyone feels okay with that?
I tried to do my best. So these are listed in our priority order of where we would like them to be approved. So the first one is replacing a Ford 550 dump truck with a swap loader. We're adding that. This is the swap loader used to be like a hot box, does asphalt projects. So if you see somebody that goes around and is fixing potholes on the street with the thing for asphalt in the back, this is the truck that would do that. The swap loader would do that. It would also have a leak vacuum on the back. It will replace a 14-year-old dump truck with over 130,000 miles. The second project is the Grove Street drainage repairs and sidewalk improvements. This project is to repair a damaged drainage pipe that is resulting in street flooding, which is also what you see in that photo in and around 80 Grove Street. This is a project that was on our capital plan, and we're reprioritizing it to bring it forward due to the drainage failure that was observed in October 2025, and we did some investigation work, and the pipe is currently failing. So this needs to be reprioritized and done more quickly. This project also, as it says, it's drainage repairs and sidewalk improvements. So the drainage line goes under the sidewalk, so the sidewalk will need to be removed and replaced as part of this project. There was a citizen request to do an improvement in the crosswalks at Grove Street and Pleasant Street, under which this drainage pipe is going to go. That was a 2023 annual town meeting request. So we are taking some of the engineering that was done as part of that and incorporating this as an integrated project to improve the drainage and the connectivity sidewalks and crosswalks at the same time. All right, next project. Speed dating. So this project you will also see when we talk about the water enterprise. That's what's really driving this project, but this will be a water main replacement that will also require roadway work, so we'll use general funds and water funds to do this work in the vicinity of Briarcliff, Wild, Thayer Heights, and Hemlock Roads. This is a subdivision that was built around the 1980s. We have numerous water breaks there, 1 to 2 a year, so you're going to see that very much patchwork. You can see a lot of work on the roads. Once we do the water main replacement, it doesn't make sense to just repair the trench because the pavement is in such bad condition. So we want to replace the entire pavement over that after we finish the water work. But I want to propose the two projects at the same time because I didn't want to get into a situation, like you mentioned, the pavement projects have not traditionally been accepted. If we do the water work and we don't have the pavement funding, then we'd be kind of stuck. So I wanted to propose them at the same time so that we could get them approved at the same time. But they have to be approved from 2 different funding sources. All right. The next project is our pavement management plan update. It's a good practice to have a 5-year pavement management plan. It's something that the Highway Department has been doing for a very long time. The current plan was done in 2021. It is since expired this year. The highway manager has been doing a great job of using information they have and own evaluations to kind of extend it because this project wasn't approved last year, but we are asking for it. Again, I should clarify that this project wasn't recommended by the Capital Improvement Committee to move forward last year, and so we are recommending it again. And this plan helps us plan for the capital planning, the long-term funding, and it also puts us in a better position for Chapter 90 funding and for other state funding sources. We talked about the vehicle undercarriage pressure washer. The 6th project is Gristmill Dam North Mill Street rehabilitation. This is to replace an 1850 single-span timber structure that is in poor condition. This bridge, we just received an inspection from Mass DOT about 2 months ago that's showing major deficiencies with the bridge. This is an earthen dam over which the road goes, and then there's the bridge over one outfall or one spillway, and there's a culvert at the other spillway, and everything needs work. They all have different funding sources if you go to states, because it could be the dam, the culvert, the road, or the bridge. We did apply for a Mass DOT small bridge grant, but we were deferred. So we are asking for the money here. This is going to be a very large project, and it's also the biggest project I think we have on here, $1.45 million estimated now, and that's before we've done any kind of design. This is all based on the conceptual evaluation so far.
Could I do a question on that one? What would the end product look like there? I mean, that's a cool little bridge down there.
I have no idea yet. We haven't even done any of the initial engineering. We need funding to even get started.
We want it to be safe, but it does have an appeal. And, you know, it'd be nice if the finished product could have a similar facade.
I definitely think we need to look at the historic, flavor of that, but also one of the challenges is that it is weight restricted through a decision by a select board previously. Several years ago, it's weight restricted and it's too narrow, so school buses can't get through.
Yeah.
So school buses have to turn around. It completely changes their transportation rates. They've been asking for a long time to evaluate that and actually make it a road that they can pass through. So I don't think if we maintained it the way it is now that would allow that. I can't guarantee that we would even be able to do that because it is a regulated dam. But it's one of the things we need to consider as we're going forward. Okay.
Anyone else? Any other question?
I think she has one more, right?
Oh, one more, right? Okay.
3 more. And that's just the general fund. The 7th project is for the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System, otherwise known as the NIPD's MS4 permit. It's an EPA permit from the federal government that we have to that the town has to maintain compliance with, and the DPW manages that permit compliance on behalf of the town. This is, with the town had 10 years to complete these customer investigations, they need to be done by June 2028, and this funding would allow us to complete that work. I'll actually move, I'm going to go flop to number 9, then come back, which was Lake Whitehall quality improvements. Because the Lake Whitehall quality improvements are also driven by some regulatory requirements that are part of that MS4 permit, and improving stormwater quality and water quality overall. The Lake Whitehall is currently impaired, which is a fancy way. It's on a state list that says it doesn't meet its current uses for phosphorus, which is causing excessive weed growth. So that's a picture of that compared to Lake Maspinock, God bless you, which is not on any of the impairment lists because it has good water quality, because they've managed it, I would say, better over the years. The Lake Whitehall water quality improvement would install stormwater control for pollution reduction along Longwood Drive. This was part of a feasibility study that we've already completed. And we have been working with DCR to try to coordinate this, and there's some efforts from at least some members of the Conservation Commission to try to get DCR to maybe pick up some of the cost for this, because the outfall is eventually there, and Lake Whitehall is obviously their property. But the real driver for this is EPA requirements for the town for permit compliance. And then going back to the number 8 project, which was roadway improvements for Woody Island and Twin Island. This would be a multi-year project. The roadway is starting to fail right now. It is not a publicly accepted road, although it does have public water and public sewer, and it gets all kinds of public services. It would be what we consider an ancient road, so it existed prior to subdivision rules and regulations and any of the town bylaws about public road layouts. But it adds a layer of complexity, plus it's basically an earthen dam that goes through the lake. So you've got all this complexity in terms of structural engineering and conservation and other environmental permitting. So we had reached out to a few engineering firms to try to get an opinion of probable construction costs, and they say we couldn't even do it right now, that you should start with survey, do some conceptual design, and then build it out. So this particular request is asking for that so that we can do a survey, do some conceptual designs, figure out what we would do, and then next year we'd have to come back with that survey and ask for a public road acceptance before we could spend any more money on this road. And that is all I have for capital general funds.
Thank you. Quite a few, so we'll process, but start the Q&A with Amy.
I think just overall, so it's a lot of projects and a lot of money as a multi-year. And so did you say they're you have them in order of what you think is most important?
Correct.
I guess seeing all these, I'm worried that they are not all going to pass at town meeting, but if you prioritize them, at least people can make their votes, do their votes that way. But a lot, they seem needed and good. It's a lot of money for the public and in 1 year. I don't think I have any particular questions.
Thank you, Matt.
So DPW budget is when I encourage all of us to try and be a little bit of a YIMBY, which is something that this town is not super famous for. With that in mind here, I got to quibble with the pavement management plan again. I was the chair of the capital committee that rejected that pavement management plan, so it is near and dear to my heart. We rejected that pavement management plan because the town had voted against continuing to execute it at town meeting. I have not seen or heard anything to suggest to me a change in strategy, a change in viewpoint from the town writ large. So I can appreciate that funding an update here will give you new information. I have seen no indication the town has an appetite to support it. Amy has just voiced over that historically we have not supported these things. That is correct. Why are we recommending throwing $500,000 to update something that, by your own acknowledgement, we aren't currently following or using?
It's $50,000.
Okay, 50.
it's a best management practice. It's a good guideline. It's really best asset management. And the roads will continue to fall apart if we don't invest in it. I don't disagree with you that I don't think that the town has historically supported these pavement management programs, but they also are the same people that call me and complain about how their road has got potholes and cracks and other issues. This is the best way to do that. And, you know, as professionals, this is what we're recommending to do. And unfortunately, if people can't see that, I think we're going to continue to see a degradation in our road conditions.
Oof, didn't love the way that came out. Okay, fair enough. I guess, let me ask the question this way. Having been in this position and supported this for a number of years, why is there a strategic plan for pavement and not water and sewer? I'm thinking about a number of pavement plans here. They will likely touch the water and sewer. They will touch natural gas. Are you thinking about expanding those services as part of how we maintain these?
I have an asset management plan for water. I have an asset management plan for sewer. We have a comprehensive wastewater plan. We have numerous plans. And then as part of the 5- and 10-year capital planning as townwide, we integrate all of those and try to find some overlap. So you'll notice this plan, you know, we're integrating a water and pavement plan. We're integrating a stormwater and sidewalk plan. So we're trying to do that to find the efficiencies, but we do have several plans. We actually just submitted for an asset management grant through the state revolving fund for clean water initiatives, and we were not selected for that because the state has significantly reduced the amount of funding available for asset management. But I would love if you want to provide additional funding so that we could do an updated asset management plan. That one's from 2020, was grant funded, and definitely needs some update.
I asked this one from a far friendlier place than you would imagine. I've actually had quite a few constituents because I've harped about the conditions of the road and specifically the road that I live on, and they have actually asked me if part of the reason I am requesting this is for an extension of town sewage and gas, neither of which my house actually has at the moment. And so no, that is not why I am harping on this, but I am curious about, as we do this work, what we are thinking about how we expand and continue to enhance and deliver town services. My feedback here is just we need a better approach and plan. The town has signaled that they're not going to support what we are currently doing. I appreciate that the pavement management plan is best practice. We have zero indication that the town is going to support it, and even if we give you the money, we have absolutely no faith they're going to execute against it. That is a series of conditions and flags that tell me I shouldn't be giving you more money.
Through the chair, I'd also like to mention, like, all of these projects are maintaining existing infrastructure. We're not planning to build anything new. We're not expanding anything. This is all trying to maintain what we currently have, including the 1850 bridge.
Yep, all of which I support. This is a quibble on pavement management. The rest of the plans make sense to me. Thank you.
Sorry, if you don't.
Mr. Hare?
Just real quick.
Nothing else at this time. It'll be interesting to see what happens at town meeting, but I think there's a lot of logic in what we're talking about here.
Oh, can I clarify? These are all proposed funding by free cash? Is that, okay, so they're more likely to pass if we have the free cash certified then. Okay, sorry.
No problem. Mr. Hare, anything else?
Nothing else.
Thank you. I have a couple of questions. One is, echoing what Amy was saying, it would be a good idea to rank order your requests in terms of priority, given this is the rank order?
Yes, it's rank ordered on the capital improvement plan. I just went out of order to be kind of considerate of the folks that were in the audience and
Okay.
group some
That's fine.
ideas together, but it is within, rank ordered.
That would be, I think,
It's on ClearGov?
Yeah, but it's ranked ordered in the presentation.
Yeah, on the capital improvement, like the 5-year capital improvement plan in ClearGov and in what you have.
I think in the town meeting, it would be helpful for people to decide as well, because we had challenges last year, if you remember. Then the second question is, the pavement management plan, what is the outcome of that you are expecting? It would be showing like the entire pavement situation across the town and recommend what the gap is and what the improvement is needed for how much dollars, that kind of plan?
Yeah, so the pavement management plan evaluates every single road in town, every single public road. It provides a pavement condition index, which is a numeric evaluation of the road conditions, and based on that, they make recommendations each year on whether it's more cost-effective to, say, seal coat the road, mill and overlay the road, or it has to be completely rehabilitated. And they try, the idea behind the pavement management is to catch it before it gets too bad, right? So as you were pointing out, if you have to rehab a road, it costs 3, 4, 5 times as much as if you were sealing it all along the way. So it helps out with that. It helps out with long-term capital planning, and it gives you an idea of how much it will be to maintain the road at a certain pavement condition index.
Thank you, very much needed, and I hope, we get to socialize and put in some education across the town, because people don't always realize, and you're right, I mean, when they suffer, we scream, but when we come for them, needed allocation, we've seen challenges in the past. So good luck with all of that. I don't have any other question. Anyone else, anything else? All right, thank you. Thank you for, what's got more?
Oh, I've got.
Oh, right. She's got much more. The general fund.
Want to move it to another meeting date, but we also have the Water and Sewer Enterprise Fund.
Enterprise fund, sorry, yep.
All right, so I guess that will be, I'm gonna do water and sewer operating funds at the same time. So I will note that the budget message for the general fund was level service. My understanding based on feedback from town residents and leadership is that there's a higher level of service expected for the water enterprise, right? This has been at least conveyed to me that water needs to be a priority, and so we need to be spending more money on our water and sewer. So this budget we're proposing is the $2 million water operating budget with an overall 28% increase in our water operating budget and a $1.6 million sewer budget with a 24% increase. The biggest drivers for the increase are that change from indirect to direct funding of those 3 positions, like I mentioned earlier, the union contract, which I also mentioned with the 8% increase in wages as earlier. We are also requesting 1 additional water and sewer foreperson. This is to be able to run 2 crews simultaneously to provide better routine and emergency work. So we have a very small and very dedicated staff, but they will have planned work to, say, do a flushing program or to do maintenance on a hydrant, and if there is a leak or something, the whole crew has to go that, or if when the pump station goes down. And so having 4 people will allow us to have 2 crews that can run simultaneously, and it will improve our operations. We're also requesting 2 summer laborers for the water department, which is similar to the highways program. What we envision these summer laborers doing is helping with fire hydrant maintenance, which would also support the fire department. It's a great program, it's very cost efficient, and one of the additional benefits is that we try to hire locally. It's usually college-age students that are trying to get some work over the summer, but it provides some workforce development and encourages more young people to join the water profession. So it's also, part of a recruiting effort long-term. The other changes to the water budget are attributed to higher costs due to higher demand. So as much as the water conservation efforts we've been doing, the demand for water and the amount of water that the residents of Hopkinton and the businesses of Hopkinton have been asking for just keeps going up. It's also for increased sampling and chemical treatment required by regulatory compliance, specifically for PFAS and manganese, which we'll be talking about later, and the implementation of some best management practices which have been definitely asked for by several different folks, including the Water and Sewer Advisory Board, which includes more frequent flushing program to reduce water discoloration, increased meter changeout program to improve accountability of water use and reduce unaccounted for water, annual exercise of gates, and improving our mapping and our asset management, like we were speaking about earlier. The changes to the sewer budget, the personnel changes are similar to what we talked about before. There will be a new contract for the operation and maintenance of the Fruit Street wastewater treatment facility. The bid opening is actually tomorrow, and we expect that contractual cost to go up. It's a 3-year contract. There's also increased cost to operate the sewer pump stations, specifically during rain events because of inflow and infiltration. So we didn't see that over the last year because we had drought conditions, but previous to that, we saw a huge increase in operation and emergency response due to that. I have the specific concern that we already had identified some issues at the Hayden Row pump station, which is downstream of the new Charleswood School. So although the student population, going from Elmwood to Charleswood is not impacting the schools, we have sewage that was going to the Wood Street pump station that now for the whole school is going to the Hayden Row pump station, which is already having problems. So we've been trying to evaluate that and identify what we can do about that. But that's going to have to be a priority for us before the new school goes online. And the last thing with the sewer budget is an increased cost for hydrogen sulfide mitigation, which provides odor control and corrosion mitigation. Do you have any questions about our operating budgets?
Thank you. We can do a quick round.
No questions on that, thank you.
Mr. Kisner?
Once we undo the financial accounting of direct versus indirect, what is the delta increase in the budget?
I don't have that handy, but I can get back to you, Matt.
Thanks. I'm only asking because Carrie's made a good point that she was informed that she should be investing in this, so I want to ensure that the increase here is not just purely being absorbed by the new staff and that you are reflecting that in the actual budget here as well.
She's also adding to staff, though, too. Okay.
Yep. Other pieces, and maybe Kyla, we can take it offline. I'm concerned hearing about the sewage and the potential issue there with the new school. This makes me want to start to better understand planning and how some of those decisions went. This doesn't seem like the sort of thing we stumble into at the last minute, that there was going to be an overall increase in what the sewage volume was going to look like there. So this is kind of back to my conversation earlier about just there's this entity in town that is slowly eating itself, and it's the town not talking to the rest of the town about the things the town is doing in the town. We got to break some silos down here, folks, because we're being adversely impacted by them.
Right. Through the chair, if I may make a comment.
Please.
I will say that the elementary school building committee has been very receptive, and when we've addressed some of these concerns, they've been very open to them. I mean, some of the challenges is because they're getting pressured to move very quickly, but we made some requests for engineering oversight for the roadway project, for some sewer manhole improvements, which they've done, and we've brought up this concern with them. They said, you know, if there is available budget, that this seems like it might be something that
Yeah, my point is that it essentially should have been budgeted for to begin with, but I can appreciate your stance that this sort of work tends to roll downhill.
Thank you. We'll move to, if that's okay, do you have any?
That was a great
Amy?
answer.
No, I don't think I have any further questions.
Thank you. I just have one quick question. So the 200 or so increase in the personnel, that's going to help with some of the additional work that you're doing. Can you quickly rationalize that?
It's mostly an accounting thing. So the only additional personnel we're asking for is the one additional 4-person and the 2 seasonal workers. So the dollar value that you're seeing is really just this accounting change that we're making, because in the long run, I think it's going to help understand more. You know, when the water and sewer manager was being funded by the general fund and then 100% being reimbursed by the enterprise fund,
That adjustment.
the same picture. And now you're seeing the full picture of like
Oh, I see. On
the
the other.
staff that support these programs.
Got it. And your expense went down. No, sorry, that was number, I was saying differently. Nothing further. You can move to the next one.
Okay. You want to start with water capital or sewer capital?
The sewer's up first in the presentation.
Sewer capital.
Mr. Chair, curious, you're flipping the page. Has the Water Sewer Advisory Board gone over all these numbers and stuff with you?
Yes, and I believe you have a memo in your packet.
And do they agree with everything that you're proposing?
That's what the memo says.
I'm sorry?
That's what the memo says, yes.
That they are agreeing? Great.
I think it was like the last page of the packet.
It's very brief that they agree.
So many
We
pages.
anticipate you were going to ask that question, and I asked them to provide a memo, and so
To be
that's,
very clear, I didn't read the packet.
it's the very last page.
I don't read the packets anymore.
And it's 170 pages.
Exactly. That's why I didn't read the packet.
folks.
But they did basically agree. I'm not expecting 100% here, but in general, they're in alignment.
Yeah. They took a more, a better look at the capital projects than the operating budget, but yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, go ahead.
So for the sewer projects, we are proposing a sewer meter station upgrade. This is required for the sewer meter station that measures the flow from Hopkinton to Westboro. So most of our sewer goes to the Westboro wastewater treatment facility, and we get charged based on that flow that goes there. It's currently being eroded, which went back to that hydrogen sulfide investment we want to make in the operating to reduce the corrosion. And this project was brought to us from the Westboro DPW and in compliance with our intermunicipal agreement with them.
Thank you. Do you want to continue? Then we'll have the discussion together.
The next one is Fruit Street Wastewater Treatment Facility Safety and Control upgrades. So there's continuing investment that needs to be made at the treatment facility. This one is in particular with that picture. These are some requirements that are being expected by Mass DP. This is a safety one for like hatches like this, so you can even see a little bit in the red says danger. This would provide guardrails and gates to protect people from falling. And the control upgrades, we have several controls in the picture didn't show up, but like monitoring screens that are no longer working. Somebody's got like a laptop plugged in, and we just need to upgrade all those. And then our last project is a sanitary sewer evaluation survey for the West Main Street pump station. So another regulatory requirement is that we have an inflow and infiltration plan, and we have one that was done that outlined a 10-year plan, and this would be the next phase of that plan with the focus on the West Main Street area, because that would be the next asset that we would be looking at upgrading or replacing.
And through the chair, all of these are funded through the retained earnings of the sewer enterprise.
Is that it?
Those are for the sewer. Any questions on the sewer capital?
Let's go over. Mr. Herr? Mr. Kisner?
Nope.
Amy?
No, thank you.
I think we're good. We can move forward.
So we'll move on to water. Water's a bigger one. We're requesting $13 million in capital for water. The first project is well 1 rehabilitation. So this is the second largest producing well of Hopkins drinking water supply. There was a partial collapse of well number 1 in 2024, and a significant reduced pumping capacity has been observed since this collapse. We also have public safety concerns, and that was the reason why the fire chief stayed here. And this was highlighted most recently by the fire at the JB Sawmill and the importance of having capacity and, you know, the issues with this well not producing as we'd had hoped to. So this rehab will increase capacity and reduce vulnerability of the well. Unfortunately, because the MWA project is not moving as quickly as I would like it to move, we can't wait. So, you know, I would not want to have to be making all these investments in this existing infrastructure if we were moving along with the other, but we can't put this one off. The next one is the Grove Street tank construction. So we had a previous capital investment to do the engineering design. Now we're asking for this $2.1 million to rehab the tank. The Grove Street Water Service storage tank, the water service area consists of the 2 tanks located near the Hopkins Middle School. Tank number 1 was built, the one that we're looking to rehab was built in 1966 and is almost 60 years old. And this is a request to address the deteriorating conditions that was made by Mass DEP. All right. Oh, that's a before and a rendering of the potential after. And I'm absolutely convinced that I'm going to get a giant H painted on that water tank when we get done.
Words out of my mouth, Carrie. It's killing me. It's not there
Can we
already.
stop right there for a second? Like, that's legit, Carrie. A lot of people in town want those things painted up with Hopkinton somehow.
Yeah, it's not a joke.
That's what I'm planning to do it. Everybody laughs at me.
This is how you get the money. We're going to put the colors on the tank.
They are. All right. I said that, or else I was like, if I can't get money, I'm going to get a DPW dog and bring that in, and that's going to help too. Next year. We'll see how it'll go at a town meeting. We might have a dog next year. The next one is a water main replacement project for East Main Street. This is a $9.8 million project. We're currently under design, which we had funding for, and then engineering. This would replace the water in kind for some sections that are over 100 years old. I would like to point out that this project was needed to be done whether or not we connect with MWRA. Like, old pipes need to be replaced. So no matter what the water supply is, this needs to be done. We've had several leaks and failures, and this is going to significantly help the town eliminate lead service lines and other unknown service lines to meet the regulatory requirements for the Safe Drinking Water Act, lead and copper rules revisions that were required as of 2024. So I think many of you have seen those letters that have gone out about replacing lines. This is the area of town where we have the most need, and so this project will help us significantly move towards that regulatory compliance. But it is a very large project, and it will be very disruptive. And number 4 is supplemental expense request for equipment. So last town meeting, we got funding to replace the vehicle W9, but we need additional funding for the equipment that goes with that vehicle to enable it to respond to water emergencies. Project 5 is The water component of the one I talked about earlier, when the Briarcliff, Wildfire Heights, Hemlock area. So basically, we have a significant amount of water leaks in that area, and the water main needs to get replaced. Again, independent of whether or not we go to MWA, this work needs to get done. And then the last on this list is a portable generator that will provide reliable energy source to be used at pump stations and water tanks if there's ever a power outage. And our generators that the DPW has in the Water and Sewer Department also support other town departments if they need to during a power outage. So I want to point out that the Water Department was the one that provided a generator during the 2024 elections, where there was the unexpected power loss at the middle school, and was able to keep the elections going. So there's value of having generators beyond just pump station. And that is all I've got.
Thank you. Just to summarize, overall, what is the total ask for all these projects? Do you have top of that?
$13 million for all the water, $820,000 for all the sewer, and $4.8 million for the general fund projects.
And how much of it is we are projecting we can accommodate from the free cash? That's total, not this year only.
General fund is 100% free cash. Sewer is 100% retained earnings. Water is 735,000 retained earnings because we don't want to deplete it. And we will have to borrow about 12.5 million.
That borrowing is this year?
For 27, correct.
27, okay, thank you. And I'll open it up, a couple of thoughts. One is, I'm glad you have done ranked order, that'll help. But also, have you considered staggering the projects based on, topmost must-have, hell is gonna break loose, hopefully not?
We have a very comprehensive 10-year capital plan, so yes, these are all staggered. The water in particular with the projected cost for MWA project. So we're trying to get ahead of some of these because we know that's going to hit the rates later. So yes, absolutely. The challenge is the projects don't go away. So if we don't fund them now, it doesn't mean that we never have to fund them. We just have to figure out a way to fund them later. So it's just kicking the can down the road.
Thank you. Thank you for that context. Mr. Hare?
Do we have a projected rate increase for water based on that borrowing? What that would look like? I know we do that annually when we get together with our colleagues from.
The annual rate study included projections based on our capital plan, our 10-year capital plan. There have been some adjustments since we've completed engineering and we've refined some costs, but I believe that the recommendations that you saw at the last rate study presentation are going to be very similar to what we will do. We do our due diligence each year when we do the rate study, but I don't expect the recommendation to change much.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Kisner?
Yeah, to that point, this is part of what we're discussing with the potential update to the water and sewer policy, but even what we're pushing is largely based on what was already there. So I don't have any additional questions here either, other than just, I guess, echoing the general concern about borrowing, but these are, from my perspective, largely non-elective projects, and you're in this position because you ultimately were not adequately funded to maintain the enterprise fund. We're here because of previous decisions.
Thank you. Amy?
Yeah, I guess I'm just now looking at the town meeting draft warrant, because I didn't remember there were so many capital projects, but I guess we've lumped them all under a couple articles, is that right? Okay, so that might be a little bit more manageable at town meeting. So all the capital improvements are under one article, all the water enterprise things are under one article, and sewer enterprise. Okay, so they can all be discussed as a group in the prioritization order, and then we'll vote at the end. So that might simplify it for people, that we'll talk about them in big sections of all these, because all these projects tonight, I'm like, how are we going to get through this at town meeting? But, okay, and you'll have all the information available in advance so people can read through it. They all seem like important projects. It's just a lot altogether. So.
It can be a long Saturday.
Seriously, paint the tanks.
But thank you. I think, anyone else, any other questions, comment before we let Kyla and Carrie go? Thank you. This was very
The
helpful.
next agenda item too, so.
Next article.
Yeah.
The next agenda item.
Kyla, phenomenal job.
Thank you, Dia.
I hope people appreciate how prepared the department heads are and how much work goes into this that you are not seeing.
Well, I think we underestimated the time we needed for the budget, but it was very good discussion and very much needed. Now, our next item is manganese in town wells 7 and 8, which I think we'll have Carrie give us the context and the update.
That's me again. Yes, so we had a notification from Mass DEP that the manganese levels in the finished water at well 7 and 8, which are the Aparilla Farm, otherwise known as Aparilla wells, was an exceedance of an advisory level for manganese. So manganese is a naturally occurring mineral. The concern about this is that over your lifetime, if you're exposed to too much, that it could have health impacts. This one, it's not a regulatory limit, it's an advisory limit, so it doesn't have the same drivers, but as a result of this, and this is based off of a year of sampling, so the regulatory limit is 0.3, and our results are anywhere between 0.33 and 0.49 or 5. We are seeing the levels go up as we're seeing the demand continue and be high, and the levels are definitely higher than was anticipated when those wells were constructed as part of the Legacy Farms project. So this is my aid. So this is what we're talking about. This is the water that comes out of well 7 and 8, and all that stuff at the bottom that people get worried about. That's the manganese and the iron, and when it goes through the pipes, you get your brown water. So when I came up here, it was clean and crystal clear, right? When we get a lot of use and people turn all their faucets on in the morning and we get a lot of water that goes to the pipes, it goes like that. And this will sit here and you'll see how long it takes to settle out. And that's part of the issue that we have discolorization. It's not necessarily it's more of an aesthetics and a taste issue than it is a health issue. But as I said, this is an advisory thing. What is it? The Massachusetts DEP's Office of Research Standards Guidance Levels. We are required to notify the health department, the select board, and the general public. So public notification went out in the Hopkins Independent this week. We use that because it goes to every single resident in town. And it's the most effective and most cost-efficient way to notify everybody, especially residents as opposed to just the property owners. So everybody should know about it at this point. We responded back to Mass DEP with that. We also were required to submit a long-term corrective action plan. So our corrective action plan was cleaning the wells immediately, which is really only a near-term solution, a deep clean, more public outreach, ongoing monitoring, but our long-term solution is a connection to the MWRA. And I am available to answer any of your questions. Oh, I should say, I'm sorry, I'll point out. It was an advisory level. The only action item out of this was that the DEP recommends that for infants, which they define as children 1 year and below, that have this, they might use bottled water for formula as opposed to the tap water.
Thank you. Amy, you want to go first?
I guess I wonder, just like with the problem that we had with the PFAS problem that we had, and we had to offer a water bottle rebate, is because this is an advisory, not a regulatory, will we be offering a water bottle rebate for people that have infants?
I'm not recommending a bottled water rebate at this time.
Okay. But will we have any provisions in town for someone who can't afford bottled water for the formula? I don't know, just something to think about. Like, it's not a large population that it'll affect, but we want to make sure everybody knows to do the bottled water for formula.
Mr. Kisner?
Yeah, I'll piggyback there. I'm less certain about the financials, and I appreciate that you're advocating for it. What I'm concerned about is that it starts to sound to people like the beginning of the alarm going off. I appreciate that I'm hearing you voice this as, we are recommending an over-the-top conservative action to protect the most vulnerable, youthful portion of our population. You are not suggesting actual risk. This is how we ensure there is no risk. I think I'm hearing you correctly. You're not giving me angry face. Good, got there. But with that said, this is ultimately about public perception, and public perception on this is going to be that the water in town is no longer safe for small children. That's the full stop on this now. So I would appreciate if we were having a bit of a different conversation, because this is not purely aesthetic now. When you're telling me that it is potentially recommended that infants are utilizing it for something, in this case formula, that actually is a pass-through impact to the community. So I am going to see this a little more seriously than you, that I do perceive this as the first communication of a potential health risk. and I'd like to understand what we are recommending. Whether or not we are providing financial assistance is mutually exclusive from the fact that you ultimately just communicated and acknowledged potential health risk coming from my faucet. I don't pay to have health risk come out of my faucet.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm looking for a response.
What is your question or your
My
ask?
question is, I would like to understand why we are not having a conversation here about a remediation plan above and beyond. You framed this to us as an aesthetic issue at the beginning. You swirled, I can see it beginning to settle, I'm aware of how things diffuse through. Then you identified that there was a risk to infants. We are now having a conversation about, in your own words, an acknowledged pass-through health impact to the population of Hopkinton from the public utility system. I would like to understand what actions are being immediately recommended to remedy that. It is not an acceptable condition for the public utility to be generating risk for the user population, no matter how small.
The near-term recommendations were, and what was conducted immediately was the deep cleanse of the wells. It's only in well 7 and 8. Our water is combined. So this was the advisory based on the sample that was collected at the well, which is not necessarily the water that comes out of your tap. So that was the immediate response. We have a flushing plan for next year, and then we have a plan to do an MWA connection. There is no immediate thing that you could do other than supplying bottled water like we had to do for PFAS until there was a temporary PFAS situation. So the quickest way to get the safer water to people is to do the MWA connection.
So, thank you. So I'm going to choose to express this a little differently, than I promise I'm done here. I would appreciate if we were having a conversation then immediately with significantly more urgency around efforts to enhance and expedite our MWRA connection. This is no longer a conversation around cost, availability, desire. We are now having a conversation about potential pass-through health impact to this community. I'm a little appalled that that isn't how this started. That's where it's ending, and I appreciate we got to the right place. We cannot be having a dollars and cents conversation here when there is a potential impact to the utility and the citizens. That's crazy.
Thank you.
Could I clarify something? I'm sorry, I'll be brief, but so are you saying these are the numbers just at those wells? So the blended water would not have this high, we all get the blended water from the Fruit Street blending facility, it has less
I would not anticipate that the taps, I mean, we don't go and sample out everybody's taps. I would not anticipate that the taps would have this high of a level. Okay. No, because this is at the source. And so there is, but you know, if you have a house that's right next to the well, then it's probably higher. In this.
Okay. And then the results of the Fruit Street blending facility, the levels of manganese are measured there, just like the...
Yeah, they're measured at every well. These are the only ones that we have this. Okay. And it's an advisory, as I said, it's an advisory level. It's not a regulatory. So as I said, Mass DP, this has been high since last January. They didn't call us and say, shut it down right away. You've got to do anything like that.
Okay.
And I do agree that it creates panic, and that's when I need the help messaging, because people get freaked out because it sounds bad. It's not really, it's a lifetime exposure, and it could possibly increase your health risk. It very specifically said in that advisory that that does not necessarily, this does not imply that intakes above these levels will necessarily cause health problems. Individual requirements for, as well as adverse impacts, can highly be variable.
I'm sorry, who's that from?
That was our public notice that was put out in the newspaper. That was a requirement from Mass DEP.
That
and
sounds
that's
like
the wording
buyer
that they
beware.
gave us.
Thank you.
And all the testing results from all the wells are on your website as usual, so we can point people to theirs, aren't they?
The PFAS is on there. All of our information is in our annual water quality results.
Which is on the website.
Yeah, we don't put all, we don't put all the water quality sampling results on the website. The PFAS was specifically there. We are required to do quarterly notifications until Mass DEP says we don't have to anymore. And we are required to put the results in our annual report, water quality report.
Okay, thank you.
That goes out to every resident.
Thank you. Mr. Hare?
So Carrie, in that sample bottle there, that came straight from well 7, right? And that's just, you put it under the well or however you got it out of the well and put the cap on and brought it in here. How long will it take? You see it's already settling a little bit. How long does it take to settle like that?
I would say, a couple of hours.
Okay. And then that is blended with a bunch of other wells and goes into the tanks and then it comes out to the homes, right?
Correct. So this
What
is
percent of that well 7 water, that color's pure well 7 water, is in the tanks, if you had to guess?
If I had to guess, 10, 15%.
Okay, so
it's not our
10,
highest producing
15%.
wells. And actually, quite honestly, sorry, I even mentioned this. I mean, we shut them off when we don't need them. So they were shut off. And if there's not the high demand from the public, then we keep them off because we have water quality issues. Should have led with that.
Okay, so if it was on, it would be 10%. So is the tank on Grove Street at the bottom of the tank really dark like that with the manganese? Or is this?
There is sludge at the bottom of our water tanks, yeah, and that they'll have to be remediated, removed, yes.
And when you say people are turning on and turning off their faucet, they're not shaking their house to get it to stir up like that, right? So is that discoloration more dramatic than what would be in a typical, like if I go home tonight, which I'm going to do, and turn on the tap and put it in a clear glass and shake it up a little bit, I'm going to look.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to see anything like that.
No, you won't see anything like this. This is obviously very dramatic, and but it's just an example because this came straight out of the wells. But we do get a lot of complaints about discolored water, and people are very concerned. And this is the causes of it. I'll also say, like I said, demand. We're at a low demand time because it's winter. We caution everybody to conserve water, but the demand goes up in the summertime. So as soon as the snow melts and people want to get their yards going and they want to be outside, that demand is going to go up. And that's when we need all the wells. And that's what we've noticed, that the higher pumping in these wells is pulling in more water. And then we're seeing these higher levels of manganese and iron. So it's directly related to demand.
Okay.
And the supply system.
Okay. And is this a parts per million thing, how it's measured, or how?
Yeah, it was milligrams per liter, which can be converted to like parts per million.
And the advisory level is still pretty low, or is that pretty high?
It's very low.
It's very low.
Just like PFAS, very low. 0.3 milligrams per liter.
If it's crazy low and no one sees that, that's one thing. If everybody's just going to see that coming out of their tap this summer, that's going to be a whole other problem, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Through the chair, I would just simply note, I work in the pharma industry. I will tell you, the American public has a wildly low tolerance for being told what level of risk they should assume when they are consuming something. This isn't about whether it's safe, it's about who is making the consensual decision. For many citizens in Hopkinton, whether or not they can afford bottled water, you live in our town, you almost assuredly can, but I probably can't move tomorrow, and yet my child may need water and other services. That's what this is about. Thank you.
Thank you, Kerry. I don't have a lot of questions, but what I want to echo is our commitment is for clean water. And that's why we have, all the good things that we get from your service, from your department service. We have the advisory board because we have been concerned with how we have endured some of the challenges with our aging infrastructure and the limitations and the challenges comes up this way often, or coming up. So that said, the MWRA is a solution that we are certainly having on our radar and having the discussion going on. The Water Advisory Board is certainly looking at it closely for making their recommendation at large. I mean, they have made some recommendation, but as we are also negotiating with our neighboring towns on that, I think we are marching along on those. Of course, it'll be up to the residents how and when we do that. But it'll take, as you know, 3-5 years, if not. So the question I have is, in general, what in the meantime we can do, and also collectively, I agree, echoing my colleagues' concerns, that it might be worth having another session in our agenda in the coming days where we have the Water Advisory Board and the Board of Health collectively giving us more education, us and the residents, on this matter as to how severe this challenge is. And I'll ask some data points. I can talk to you offline as to Mr. Hare's earlier point, how much actual end users are going to see these and suffer because of this, and how much the DEP, the Board of Health combined thinks it's a health risk or issue. or potentially health risk or issue, and how much, collectively we can come up with a remediation for short term and mitigation of the health challenges should there be from the town. Is it alternative, water bottles, providing some credit, whatever it may be, we need to, and we are, of course, taking it very seriously. We need to look at it closely. So all I'm saying is that, I think you little bit woke us up after the budget numbers sessions, but it's very important, and I would recommend having another session when we can in the coming days, joint session, and have more clarity and more education on this. So with that, I don't know if there are any other comments or any other discussions to have. Thank you, Kerry. I appreciate your bringing this up.
Thanks, Kerry.
Drive safe.
We'll move on to our next agenda item. We are almost an hour and a half late. So is there any flexibility to postpone any of the items for tonight and move it to the next one?
I would like to, if the board could discuss the draft pilot agreement. John Neese is on Zoom, I believe, for that one.
Okay. All right, let's go to that quick.
Mr. Chair, I'm going to recuse from this particular item.
Thank you, Mr. Hart. So the Select Board will consider reviewing a draft payment in lieu of taxes pilot agreement with the owner of the solar facility at 69 Franklin Road. The pilot is for personal property taxes only for 25-year period. The agreement is structured so that it is anticipated that the town will not lose any revenue it would otherwise have collected during the pilot term. Do you want to add to that context?
So just briefly, this draft pilot agreement is on the town meeting warrant, was negotiated by our assessor's office and the former town council. It details the payment in lieu of personal property taxes, not real estate taxes, that be paid by the solar farm off Franklin Road over a 25-year period. Personal property as the solar farm equipment and panels that have been installed on the property. The draft payment schedule establishes the value of the personal property each year, which does depreciate over time. The agreement is structured so that the town won't lose any revenue it would otherwise have collected during the pilot term. These agreements benefit both the town and the solar farm because both need an accurate projection of revenues and our expenditures over time. And it's a common practice. We do have existing pilot agreements with other solar farms. The agreement includes a table with the projected annual property tax, personal property tax, and this is for reference purposes because the actual amount paid would be the personal property value in that middle column multiplied by the actual personal property tax rate in that year. So right now it's estimated, but they would apply the actual tax rate. So this is outlined in footnote number 1 in the agreement. The agreement also makes it clear that the real estate property taxes are to be paid as assessed each year by the town. And finally, it gives certainty to the town. It doesn't permit the developer to apply for personal property tax abatements over the 25-year period as well. And John Neese, our assessor, is online if there's any particular questions about that.
See him on there. I just want to clarify, we're still going to do the tax refunds thing too, right? I know some union members are probably...
It's up to the chair.
I think there's some union members watching at home about the tax refunds.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think we can do this one first, but...
All right.
Or, I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chair.
We jumped around. We're here. Let's just get through it. So
Let's do the pilot first and then, okay.
we're in it. It's already happening.
Okay, but I don't want us to...
Is John online?
I don't see anyone.
Okay, maybe he left.
John?
Okay. So then, if I can.
I think, let's continue and finish this one, and then we can...
I'm going to be...
Sorry,
It's on the
those who are waiting.
Okay.
So, Mr. Kisner, go ahead with your question.
I'll follow Elaine's lead here in suggesting that the items on the warrant, we have the opportunity to continue to talk about it. I would appreciate personally a little bit better understanding of how we use these, but it seems as though this is to a mutual advantage, and it is commensurate with how we've operated with other customers in town.
Yeah, I think, it's all laid out here if anyone wants to read it, and we will be voting it at town meeting. So, and we're not going to lose money on it. It's just a clearly laid out when they're going to pay what amount when. So we can plan, they can plan. So I don't have any objections, but I'm glad it's here for people to see.
Thank you. Yeah, I think I don't have any objections, and it certainly is a wash in terms of the total revenue. We get the revenue that we deserve, and we're not going to lose that. But the benefit we are getting is, I think we discussed earlier, it is protecting us from any future legal implications should the law changes statewide and others that would give, for example, more relief to these solar companies. In that scenario, we would still have the commitment of getting the revenue. So in that case, it is actually mitigating some risk for us.
There is a risk that this state may change the rules and that may no longer be personal property, considered personal property.
Correct. And it's also benefiting the company because they're getting guaranteed kind of revenue scenario.
This is the facility we've gotten some emails about, too, about the land.
Land in Ashland.
Okay, so that doesn't affect the pilot, I guess, but it is something I'm curious to learn more about since we've gotten a couple of emails.
Land that's owned by the same owner, but it's not part of the solar farm.
Maybe I can ask you offline about
Please, yeah.
getting emails.
Are you all set or have more questions? Mr. Kisner?
All set, thank you.
All right, thank you, I'm all set. Any other related question, comment?
Nope.
All right. So we'll move to the next agenda item, which we actually missed earlier. Town Employee 2024 Federal Tax Refund Delays. The Select Board will consider discussing the status of delayed 2024 federal tax refunds for some town employees and the reasons for the delay. Elaine, do you want to take it away?
Yes, so this is something that was on the board's future agenda item list. They came up a couple of meetings ago with correspondence from the unions, or some of the unions. As we've mentioned before, the 2024 federal tax refunds to some employees were delayed. This didn't appear to be occurring at the state level, but just at the federal level. The IRS did not indicate to the town that its delays were related to anything connected to the town's tax filings. The town performed all its tax filings on time and correctly. There were some employees who were issued corrected W-2s due to vision and dental coverage that year. They weren't shown in the correct box, but it doesn't seem that the delays were related to that. A few individuals did share that they learned from the IRS regarding their particular returns that it was due to items unrelated to the town, but we just have anecdotal information. The IRS is a federal agency. The town has no control over what they do and when they do it, and they're not necessarily communicating their reasoning for anything to us. News reports have indicated that there have been significant layoffs at the IRS, as we've mentioned before. So we don't know what the reason was.
Thank you. Before we jump in, can we invite our school board colleague to make any comments if they are having any concerns or anything to add to this?
I just want to say that we talked about it with the director or our CFO. Everything has been, the school sent out corrected W-2s. Everybody in the schools have gotten the right information and in a timely manner. So the school should be all set.
Thank you. I'll open up for a question. Mr. Kisner?
Yeah, quickly. So I had requested this agenda item. It came out of the rather impassioned public forum response that we got around this topic. And I just wanted to be able to say a couple things in public setting. Number one, that the select board did receive communication about this and we heard it. I did discuss it. I did ask about it here and we are once again discussing it here. When you send an email to the select board, I promise most of us read it. In fact, I bet all of us read it. Very few of us respond because we're largely not allowed to respond to you as a board. We can respond as individuals. It's tedious. Many of you write to us, but it doesn't mean we don't care about these things and we don't want to talk about them here. So number one was just getting it out there. Number two, many people took a bat to the town manager's office and town staff employees that were not involved in this process. I did not appreciate it. I represent those people. They work for us directly and indirectly. I want to make sure that people understand that this was not wrongdoing, negligence, malfeasance, or otherwise just bad work by town employees. Let's be really careful where we focus our ire when we get an outcome that we don't want or we don't expect. Hanlon's Razor tells us that people very rarely intend to make mistakes. They operate operate with ignorance, not with malice in their hearts. The other piece of this I would like to quickly reinforce, and I promise I'm wrapping here, we transitioned away from the financial software that caused all of this. We noticed something was wrong. We took in action as a board, as our chief financial, who I'm looking at. Thank you, Kyla. When problems are detected that affect the people who work in this town, we do things. It takes time to see them. If you have a question, if you continue to have an impact, I encourage you to ask why we are still using that software in parts of the business. If you are impacted again, please be mindful about where you focus your ire and your questions. For the people under the purview of this board, I believe we have made a fairly strategic decision that reflects the pain this caused, and I'm sorry you experienced it.
Thank you. Mr. Herr?
I have nothing to add at this time. Thank you.
Mr. Ritterbusch?
Yeah, I had a couple of questions, comments. Some things I've spoken to Elaine with and gotten information. So one of the things that we learned too is that the filings that the town makes with the IRS were correct, yet some of the W-2s were printed wrong. Is that correct? And people may not know how this works. Do you upload a spreadsheet to the IRS and that's what was correct, yet the paper W-2s had boxes in the wrong place?
The boxes that were in the wrong place did not affect the taxable income. So if you already filed your taxes, you don't have to refile because the box change did not impact them.
Okay.
And I think now we're talking about 2025 as opposed to 2024.
Yes, I guess so. Yeah.
So it's the same thing. So the WCs that were issued in 2025 for 2024 had healthcare deductions in the wrong box. So again, did not affect taxable income.
Okay. I guess that maybe I'm misunderstanding. I thought we got information that the numbers submitted to the IRS were correct, but not the paper forms. Am I wrong?
The numbers submitted to the IRS were correct.
Okay.
Because it's because you
invert the boxes.
Yeah, but your total wages are correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so the town is not continuing with Munis. They're going to do something else next year, but the schools are going to continue with Munis, which is, one of the big systems a lot of schools use. But if assistance is needed, we will hire a consultant to help us with Munis to get them correct, or what will we do?
Every year, we go through training with Tyler Technology to issue the W-2s, 1099s, and 1095s. So they actually walk us through the process, and they didn't identify the inverted boxes either as they walk through the process with us. So.
Okay. But we think it won't happen next time, the inverted boxes? We'll be looking for it next time.
Well, the school will go through the same training exercise with Tyler Technologies and go through the same process that we do every January.
So the school will do that process next year? Okay. Okay. Let's see. And then if there were a school or town staff member that wanted to go through it with more detail with the town manager or the town finance office, they could do that. If
we can walk through the process, yep, we can show them what was incorrect on the forms, absolutely.
Okay.
We're always available.
Okay.
Thank you. I think all the questions I had are being asked, but just to summarize, and I got a good summary from Elaine as well, and we got a lot of questions and emails and tried to communicate it that way. So the bottom line is in 2025, the box changes were more aesthetic. It didn't really have number impact that would require someone to trigger refiling or shouldn't block anyone's or delay anyone's refund situation. Is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you. Then the second is that this should not be happening, even the box changes and other aesthetic challenges which probably triggered this in the coming years because we have switched our software. Is that correct?
The town
side, thank you.
Has switched software, and our vendor will be processing our W-2s and 1095s on our behalf. On the school side, they stayed with Munis or Tyler Technology, so they will go through the same process.
Thank you, but it may not be you for that answer. How can we better prepared on the school side as well? And I don't want to put you on the spot, Kyla. Better prepared for this in the coming year because they're on the same system. Do we have that concern, question A, and B, if
Well,
do
that
we
was
do?
one reason why we switched to a new vendor on the town side. We have talked about mitigating on the school side, and if we need to do, a financial audit on historical records, we haven't made any definitive decisions, but it may be something because, Munis goes back 10, 15 years, and some of the switches were made 5 years ago, so
Yeah.
none of us were in these roles at that time.
No, understood. Something to keep on radar. We still have about a year or a little bit less to make sure that everything is smooth and ready even on the current system, because that system is also used by many. So it is a reliable system, except maybe some changes in the past, as you were saying, have been kind of crawling down. So we should be feeling, more confident and comfortable within this time, and we can, as town leaders, check back sometime mid-year that, hey, are we feeling more comfortable? That would be my recommendation. My last one is that in terms of providing some service, is there a very simple way to, because we are making communications, but we still hear concerns because it's hitting people's paycheck and their financial plans. Do we have a clear path? Who would they go to for any resolution or advice should they encounter or just have any questions? Is that payroll? Because it's also personal information.
We are very limited what we can help with when it comes to a personal return with IRS. The IRS is not going to talk to us. We do have a tax advisory number that we give out to individuals that they can call into on their behalf. We can walk through the process with an individual, but the IRS is not going to talk to someone other than that tax recipient.
Thank you. That's all I have. That clarifies it. Any other questions, comments? All right. Thank you, Kyla. Thank you, Kyla, for staying.
Kyla Square.
again.
K2. Dangerous Mountain.
All right. Thank you. We are towards the end, so the next item is annual town meeting 2026. The Select Board will consider reviewing the draft May 2, 2026 annual town meeting warrant and finalizing the language of its articles. The Select Board will consider identifying certain article sponsors to attend a future meeting for article discussions.
Seems like we have another meeting next week, right?
In the interest of time, I
Yeah,
wanted to
maybe we could
suggest.
skip that one, yeah.
Perfect. You're all good with that?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yep.
Thank you. Town manager report is next.
Just briefly, in your packet, in my memo is an update on the Center School reuse project. It's a lengthy update, but the PBC Permanent Building Committee has been coordinating with Gorman Richardson Lewis Architects on a schematic design. And also in the works is the lease agreement with the Center for the Arts as well. And additional information about that is included in my memo. I won't go through it all in detail unless you have any questions. And that's really all I had. No position vacancies to report.
All right. Anyone, any questions, comments? Moving on then to liaison reports, board invites. Amy?
Oh, boy. We got invited to even more things this week.
We did. And I appreciate how Elaine has put everything together and put a spreadsheet to track all the events and who's attending and all those.
Today I added a column there where you could indicate if you're attending an event.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, because
That's very helpful. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, as soon as she gave us the table, I immediately wrote back.
Yeah.
It's great. A lot of things, a lot of events, so very vibrant set of activities. Matt? Sorry, Amy, did you have anything?
Oh, so I can just put it in the sheet maybe, but we got invited to the marathon event with the Greek Embassy in Boston. That's always a nice event, and that's the week before the marathon. But I can put the exact date in in the spreadsheet.
We haven't added it up. We hadn't added that to the list.
Oh, you've already added it?
No, we haven't added
Oh.
that to the list yet, so.
Okay, and then the South Asian Society has a concert coming up at the end of March.
And we'll put it, for transparency, we'll put this list in the packet each meeting, so people can see what events.
That's a great idea, yeah. Perfect. Thank you. Matt?
Now we can go. We've been late.
Mr. Hur?
Real quick on the corridor project, the bollards that are going in front of Main Street Service so that the patrons don't drive over the sidewalk out onto Main Street are going in this spring. The bollards have been selected. It's a black matte finish, big, heavy-duty, bronze, I think, not bronze, but cast iron bollards. Secondly, the paving is now scheduled for, I think it's the week or two after school closes in downtown Hopkinton. So from the fire station to Ray Street, that paving will take place right after school ends, and then the striping and everything should be done. The contract expires in October for this project, so this is it. And then we'll be done.
Awesome.
Thanks, Brian.
That's great. Great news. Thank you. We can't wait. It's down to the wire. I don't have anything particular. I attended an iftar event at the mosque near Price Chopper. It was wonderful, and we had representation from all faiths, as well as from our police, fire, and school, and some of the other town boards as well. So it was wonderful, thank you. And we do have another one at the school organized by the high school students this Wednesday. And then we have the farmers market opening on Sunday. Those are the imminent ones, so.
And I'll be there for that. I can't argue against one that's literally at the end of my road.
Awesome. Looking forward to those. That's all I have.
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry, one other clarification on the corridor, if I could, please. I said that the paving begins right after school closes this year. Amarillo is scheduled to come back right after the marathon to do all the preparatory work so that we can pave right after school closes. So they'll be back here April 23rd, whatever it is. Thank you.
Thank you for that clarification. So with that, I think we can.
I think you probably heard us, but I think we want to talk about MWRA more, like, because that seems more pressing, and
I have a couple.
and the Fruit Street building we brought up too might be better for a separate meeting since we were so busy.
Please go ahead. Yes.
We're shoehorning in our future board agendas, so without going through them all, but at least the new ones. So Amy caught one, MWRA update, which I think is kind of already on here. You were talking about, I had it as planning for large-scale town storage. It came up in the context of the Fruit Street, but just a better plan for, like, what are we doing writ large with all this equipment? And then I am desperate to have a better conversation about town vehicles. That for me was like the theme of the night, this like weird Ouroboros of just kicking the can until it ends up somewhere. It feels like in this garage, in fact. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other future agenda items? No?
I'm good.
You're good? All right.
I'll give you the motion.
All right, I think we'll need the motion for executive session.
I got it. I move to convene an executive session pursuant to Mass General Law C-38, 21A to discuss strategy for negotiation with non-union personnel, police and fire chief, to approve executive session minutes from 24 Feb 26 to allow Elaine Lazarus, Lance Del Pior, and Nicholas Anastopoulos, I didn't even ask him last time, our labor council to participate in executive session and not to convene an open session at the conclusion of executive session.
Second.
All those in favor?
Amy Rodenbush, yes.
Matthew Kisner, yes.
Yes.
Shahidul Manan, yes. Thank you all. Have a good night.